Week 9 action for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and it comes to you live, exclusive and free across Facebook and YouTube as per usual. Night 1, Week 9, Term 1. And where else to get this night underway than at the Bend Motorsport Park in South Australia, Shell V-Power Motorsport Park specifically, and the penultimate round, the final sprint round of Waste Options Super Formula Light. Super Formula Light, of course, at a pivotal point with these championship standings looking very tantalising going into the final two rounds. Still anyone's championship for the taking. It's the West Course tonight for you, ladies and gentlemen, 3.36 kilometres around. And we are looking forward to seeing what might unfold here with a solid field of 21 cars lining up on the grid. They're about to switch over to the race server. That gives us just enough time to have a look at the championship points situation for you. 342 for Dan Yeaman. Look who's lurking. Look who's looming and coming home with a wet sail. Sam Chapman, 306. Ryan Jones, 295. Marcus Watson, still not on the grid, 285. And Scott Hasler, 236. It's a race between three. And even Jonesy's suggested that it might be difficult for him to win it, considering that he wasn't committed to being on the grid next week. And I can't actually see him on the grid tonight. I think he might be down at Penguin Island as part of the media day that's unfolding this week for the Shannon Speed Series. 11:30 Central Daylight Time, the server time there, 21 km/h winds in a mostly westerly direction, tending southwesterly. 26 degrees the ambient, 34 on track, which is nice and hot. 43% humidity in cloudy conditions. Stephen Bull, Dan Yeaman, front row. Good to see Stephen Bull back on the grid. Tyson Broad, Adam Funslow, second row. Chris Hen, Luke Brooker, third row. Sam Chapman, Mark Heppel, fourth row. So this is now a race between two, Sam Chapman and Dan Yeaman. Guy Leach and Adam Proctor from 5. From 6, it's Brad Hudson and Brett Bradbury. From 7, it's Brendan Deeney and Hilton Booth. From 8, it's JD Denton, John Baldwin. From 9, Edward Rollo and Kevin Wakefield. From 10, Drew Halloran and Sean McLaughlin, and Pete Matson rounds out this field. The latter two have not yet taken their position on the grid, and they are fast running out of time to do so. Adam Lavis, good evening to you. Very, very big and busy week, this one. We're set fair for a start here. I'll get some thoughts from you in just a moment, but it's a full night of sprint racing for everybody to enjoy to get the penultimate week of the term underway. Section 24 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Beautiful start, Stephen Bull. Expect slipstreaming heaven here at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. Down the outside, Yeaman tries to get through. Is about to be passed by Tyson Broad, so he has called in some reinforcements, has Dan Yeaman. But the interesting thing that you've already picked up here, Adam Lavis, and so have I, those Orbit Drop Bear racing cars are looking very non-purple and non-yellow. And that was Stephen Bull bowling it wide in a hark back to Renault days 2008. Crashgate, if you don't mind. And here comes Mark Heppel. There's a few off the circuit already. Adam Funslow, Drew Halloran and Hilton Booth. Good evening.
Evening, Zach. Yeah. It looks like I can't remember if it was Dan or Tyson. One of them alluded to last week. There is some new things coming for the Orbit guys. So obviously, they're in their black transition stage. So kind of give the hint that there's possibly a new livery coming. So maybe some new sponsors, but hasn't been released yet. So they're just in their bare bones skin for tonight, and going the Joe Baldwin stealth look, and going 1-2. So looks like the less stickers seems to be working for them.
Guy Leach off the road as well at the moment. So too Brett Bradbury, Chris Hen on pit road. And have a look at Dan Yeaman trying to get down on the inside. No, Tyson Broad's not having a bar of that. The only one they've got to be mindful about here, Dan Yeaman, is Sam Chapman. Now, we remind you of that point situation, ladies and gentlemen. It is 36. It is in Yeaman's favour. Their drop rounds, well, Chapman's got a 31 and a 13, so he's got less to fall back on than Yeaman, who has a 47 and a 44. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that he actually extends his championship lead tonight, Dan Yeaman, even if Chapman does get the better of him. Plenty of pit lane activity on that opening night. Chris Hen, Adam Funslow, Brad Hudson, Guy Leach, Brett Bradbury, Drew Halloran taking the splash and dash approach to a 10-minute race, which really doesn't add up. They've obviously all ended up in trouble on the opening lap. Drew Halloran had to take the tow rope. Edward Rollo's just bolted off the road. Hilton Boots just got by John Baldwin. Plenty happening. I love this configuration. It's my favourite configuration of the lot as far as the Ben Motorsport Park is concerned. It can get very dull and very processional on the other configurations, but it's always lively on the sprint configuration, and that might explain why Halloran had to take the tow rope. Guy Leach on replay here as well. The trip-up point was down here where the West joins the international layout.
Oh, the other guys got together.
A bitumen there? Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So they'll be still Hilton boost third.
Team Kraken.
Oh, John Ball was running the back of him.
Yeah. Not so much Kraken, rather O'Cracken there at the moment for them. Let's have a look at Adam Funslow. He got caught up in all of this garbage as well. Oh. How's the hip and shoulder? Yeaman has now taken the lead from his teammate Tyson Broad, Stephen Bull third, Sam Chapman fourth. Those guys duking it out onto the main straight. We're still looking at replays. Braden Deeney. Oh, no.
Oh, God, Leach.
It was already half gone. Yeah. It was already half gone. It's just the oncoming car finished him off. And Guy Leach, yeah, have a look at this for an airborne journey. Up and over, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this. 3, 2, 1. Whooshka.
So both Cadillacs taking on the first lap.
We don't mind a tribute livery. And Formula One liveries of years gone by, or the current day, in fact, actually do work well on the Super Formula lights. By which I mean, have a look at Stephen Bull back there in the 2008. Oh, no, I've just put the mocker on him. Up and over, and there goes Tyson Broad. Oh, my goodness. That was on replay. Bull and Broad on the tow rope. But let's watch it again. Oh. And have a look at how far he skidded along the road before the wing parted company with the car, and then it decided to pirouette him up and over a couple more times. Right on board. Hold your breath here. This is from Sam Chapman's standpoint.
So
how lucky was he to miss all of it?
Yeah, so Bull's got too much jandle, and it's all happening in front of Jeppo. And giving Yeaman a big gap.
And given Heppel second place, and given Brooker a shot at Chapman for third. Now, it's only lap 5. We're only going to get probably 9 laps in here, folks. Well, 8 at a minute and 10 would put us at 9:20. So, yeah, 10.5 minutes and about 9 laps coming your way here in this opening race. Next race will be, of course, 15 minutes in length. Invert top 10. That will be the only chance for the likes of Bull and Broad to get back into it. But they will have to start down in 18th and 19th. Halloran's got back on the racetrack, so too Guy Leach. Kevin Wakefield, John Baldwin, Braden Denny, Edward Rollo, Hilton Booth. At the moment, it's John Baldwin holding the invert pole position. Dan Yeaman leads, a margin 2.1, and then Sam Chapman is another 3 seconds back. Well, sorry, he's 3 seconds back on the leader. He's only 9/10 of a second back on Heppel. So costly. And maybe championship defining as well, Adam.
Quite possibly. It is the time to start putting those results in. So Cameron's got a bit of a gap here, but it all could be switched around in the second race though. So but he's got to make the best of the situation while it's in front of him.
Let's continue on. It is. Oh no! There goes Heppel. There goes Heppel. Exit stage right. Funslow fastest lap of the race. Chapman has taken it back off him, 109.968. Funslow had it 110.22, but both Yeaman and Chapman are in the 9s. 109.863 previously best for Dan Yeaman and 109.968 for Sam Chapman. So we're still catching up on that. Bull and Broad out of business. This is Heppel trying to get back by Proctor. Good to see Adam Proctor back out there and back up the order. All happening at the moment. All happening at the moment. And I've stated publicly already in this broadcast that the West configuration is my favourite. I wouldn't go racing at the Bend in any category unless it was on this configuration. I just think it lends itself to just terrific out-and-out straight line horsepower racing, battling and drafting. Yeaman, fastest lap of the race again, 1 minute 9.957. Yeaman to the top of the timesheets by 100th of a second on Chapman. Hertbull and Brooker. Tom Wilkinson, they are only black until tomorrow night. They have a fairly large announcement to make before the Pro Series. We would have loved a scoop, Tommy. We would have loved some intel. But we're looking forward to seeing what that's all about. Check out the Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport socials for all of that tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. And good luck with the Pro Series on Wednesday night, boys. On the subject, folks, we are currently trying to work out who the bloody hell's going to broadcast Wednesday night for us. Yeaman's out of action. Lavis has family commitments. So at the moment, we're trying to see if Andrew Neal will bring his GSRC producing, directing debut forward a night and do the double for us this week. And Thursday night, we're back live for the Porsches, and we'll bring you an as-live replay of the GT4 straight away immediately afterwards. And we've just had it confirmed today that our good mate Liam Banks won't be here with us next term on the platforms of the GSRC. He's got real-world commitments to attend to. We wish him the best of luck with those. But what it means is you're probably going to be hearing, at this stage, more of me than you'd probably like to. So apologies in advance for that. White flag will fly next time by for Dan Yeaman. Adam Proctor there in 5th spot at the moment. The lead for Yeaman is 3.3. This is exactly what he needed to do to try and tie this championship down tonight. However, next week, Adam, enduro points. So a lot more to play for.
Yeah, extra points on the lines next week. So next week's really where you need to make sure you get it all done, because it's where you could easily capitalise or lose positions in the championship with the extra points on the line. So one to look out for next week.
Rollo in 8th. 7th is Booth. Behind them is Braden Deeney. Oh, there goes Rollo. There goes Deeney through on the inside. Deeney to 8th. Rollo to 9th. In the Wayne Gardner-inspired livery. You have to be very old to get the dated reference there, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, holding onto the invert pole at the moment, top of shot there is John Baldwin. White flag flies. We're on the way home. Oh, sorry. It figuratively flies.
So,
Barney's still not on site yet.
You know that, though. Chapo's got the second place, so he's minimised any impact of the championship as best he can after that early incident with everyone around him.
So 3.79 the margin. He hasn't looked back, has he? He's not going to be willing to throw this one away, Dan Yeaman. He got a win at Motorsport in the second race of round 2. Donington, the second race of round 2 at the expense of Ryan Jones. Second race of round 4. First race of round 5. Won round 6. And for the first time since round 6, Dan Yeaman is back in the victor's circle. In the winner's victory lane on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Race 1 at the Bend goes to Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport and their championship favourite in Dan Yeaman. A very nice drive, that. Champion-elect if he continues on that trajectory, but he needs to finish the job next week. Sam Chapman in for second. Ryan Jones not on the grid tonight. That's a big blow to his championship aspirations. Luke Brooker, Mark Heppel, Adam Proctor, JD Dent, Hilton Booth, Braden Denny, Edward Rollo and John Baldwin made up the top 10. Drew Halloran, a non-finisher in all of that, finished... Actually, no, he was a finisher, but he was 2 laps down, so I think he'll just be classified on the 75% ruling. Guy Leach finished a lap down. Brett Bradbury will be the last of the finishers on the lead lap. Stephen Bull, Tyson Broad after that monumental shunt earlier. Retirements from this race. Yeaman victorious at the Bend. And as I was trying to quickly do the arithmetic there, it turns out that will be his fifth win of the season. As I said, he's already claimed 3 race wins in sprint mode this term. This is the 5th and final sprint round, and he got that 40-minute feature handed to him actually by Mark Hilly at the Miami International Autodrome. So when it comes to sprint racing this term, Dan Yeaman has been the man to beat. No suggesting that he can't go out there and back it up and do the double tonight, though, Adam Lavis. It is probably more difficult to do in this series. In fact, when we look through the sprint rounds this season, no one's been able to do it yet.
The slipstream surprisingly is a bit tricky. You got to get real close before it really takes any effect. So it is there or thereabouts when you're far away, but it's only a sort of a minor, slight boost. So it's not like the Formula V's or the Legends where you get to that big sort of overspeed until you actually get right up under the wing. So it does make it a little bit harder to make your way through the field, but just means that you've got to commit to those moves and get them done safely and as quickly as possible.
So there it is for you in full, ladies and gentlemen, in comprehensive detail. Yeaman, Chapman, Brooker, Heppel, Proctor, Dent, Booth, Denny, Rollo and John Baldwin will lead us to green for the invert top 10 second race. The 15-minute journey, which we'll get underway for you very shortly, gives us a quick opportunity to thank Waste Options, Disruptive Labs, the great people at Trophy AI, Flash Graphics and merch.tgsrci.com for their ongoing support of the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Also gives me a chance to finish saying what I wanted to get off my chest at the top of the broadcast. I just didn't have a chance to do so because I was getting a little bit tongue-tied there. A big thanks to all of you for your company this evening on what is a full night of sprint racing. Hopefully you've enjoyed a nice, relaxing, refreshing weekend. Hopefully we'll bring you something more lively and less temperamental than what Formula One is proving to be at the moment, because it is a full night of sprint racing here on these platforms. The final round of GT3 sprint racing for the term, the fourth and final one, comes to you from the Sachsenring in Germany once we're done here. We don't have the Pro Split in focus tonight. We have instead the AM Split and the Pro-Am Split to look forward to in that order, and we're looking forward to bringing it to you immensely. The interesting thing for mine in all of that, on the subject of the Pro guys, a lot of them will be no doubt feeling a little bit fatigued on the back of a massive weekend. Congratulations to all involved, all the GSRC representatives that were on track yesterday in the OSR Bathurst 12 hour. I don't normally sit down, Adam, I must say. I don't normally sit there when I'm not involved in sim racing broadcasts or commentary or anything like that. I had no involvement in that event whatsoever, but I took the liberty and I took advantage of the fact that I've got more screens at my disposal now with this new computer setup, and just had it sitting away there yesterday. Our mate Ryan Jones actually did pop up into the commentary box because of an early retirement from that race. Did a nice job, actually. He might put me out of a gig here on the platforms of the GSRC if his real-world commitments ever dry up. But no, well done to all concerned. And obviously now the next assignment will be the V8 Pro Series and the Porsche Pro Invitational Series as well, and we're very much looking forward to all that getting underway. 3 o'clock local server time here at the Bend. 27 km/h winds in a mostly south to southeasterly direction. 27 degrees the ambient, 35 on track, cloudy conditions, and 47% humidity. Top 10 is an invert of where they start, where they finished, of course, in race 1. So 10th becomes first becomes 10th, etc., etc. Out beyond that, Kevin Wakefield starting on pit lane. Chris Hen, Adam Funslow, Brad Hudson, Brett Bradbury, Guy Leach, Drew Halloran, Tyson Broad, and Stephen Bull. Let's go to work. Start critical. Kevin Wakefield starts from pit lane. 4 wide already on the run down towards turn 1. What a start from Dan Yeaman up the outside.
Oh, he's got it.
Trying to get a nut contact and gone. He did well to get out of that, but whether he sustained damage or not remains to be seen. JD Dent involved. Drew Halloran escaped out of that. Oh, there we go. Up and over and gone. There it is. Oh, nasty. Luke Brooker. Aaron Proctor. Chris Hen. And the aforementioned JD Dent, off they go again, this time the Coke entry. So Heppel's gone through in a second. Edward Rollo, Adam Funslow, Tyson Broad, Guy Leach. Uh-oh, there goes John Baldwin from 0 to 0, from pole to off track. Yeaman's got up in a 9th spot. Stephen Bull's up 11 spot. Tyson Broad is up 13 positions already, and Sam Chapman's lost 2. Chapman's down to 11. Yeaman is 9th. They probably both sustained damage in that opening incident.
Yeah, Chapo's got meatball.
So that's him out of business. And has Yeaman... No, Yeaman's escaped without a meatball. Have a look at the meatballs. Hen, Baldwin, Brooker, Dent, Booth, Hudson, Chapman. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Tyson Baldwin from last to 15. That the third. He's up 15 spots. So he's had a glory run for that first lap.
That is insane. Insane. Yeaman's had to come to pit lane as well. Yeaman has had to come to pit lane as well. So this is all over. I mean, based on that, Yeaman will get his best-worst round back, which is the 47 points from a couple of weeks ago. Last week, actually. 47 last week. Can you believe that was his second lowest score of the season? 44 in week 1 and 47 last week. Other points accumulations have included 53, 61, 50, 57, 66 and 55. And no, I'm not reading out the lotto numbers for you this evening, ladies and gentlemen, nor the keynote. But that's Dan Yeaman's points allocation week in, week out. Chapman can't afford what's going on at the moment. This is Yeaman's to lose. I dare say he gets the 47 back, which will put him up to 389 and makes it very, very difficult for Sam Chapman going into next week. Adam Proctor, Chris Hand still on pit road. John Baldwin out of the race. Done. Rick Brooker goes a lap down. Brendan Deeney has gone off the road, and that's going to allow Mark Heppel to come through and take the race lead. Yet to win a race this term in Super Formula like Mark Heppel. Maybe his time is now. In fact, can you believe Heppel's finishing results this term? 13th, not classified, 19th, 18th, 13th and 12th. He's due. He's well and truly due. Here's the replay of all the garbage that unfolded on the opening lap. It was brewing. It was inevitable when they were 4 wide going down to turn 1. There's the wheel lock. There it is, gone.
Yes, he Yeaman lost his front wing there.
Yep. Adam Proctor out of business. The race off pit road has been won by Dan Yeaman, who was 5.9 seconds clear of Sam Chapman. This is ridiculous. This could be one of the tamer, one of the more stale races in SFL you ever see now, ladies and gentlemen, because the lead for Mark Heppel is 1.4 seconds on Tyson Broad, but Broad's got the fastest lap of the race. Here's Chapman's moment, yep. And that was Yeaman taking evasive action for the second time in the lap, wasn't it? So, really, it was just not going his way. Chapman got the meatball out of all that, still none the wiser as to why. Looks as though the meatballs were handed out just for fun in all of this, but that was not surprising at all. Adam Proctor had no choice but to get on the tow rope after that, and he's out of the race. 3 retirements already, and JD Dent could be about to add to that. He's back on pit road. John Baldwin tried to go down the inside and just went a little bit, tried to go down the outside and just got it a little bit too hot into the corner. The rejoin not crash hot either, John, and then got wiped out as a consequence. So Heppel, Broad, Ben Bull, Funslow, Deeney, Leach, Bradbury, Robbo, Halloran and Wakefield. Tyson Broad up 16 spots, so too Stephen Bull. Bull's 1.1 behind Broad. They're both closing in on Heppel. 1.4 the margin there. Are we about to see? Whoa, there we go. Adam Funslow down the inside of Stephen Bull. So we're going to race for third. Problem is, can Broad catch Heppel? Can Funslow and Bull reel them in? I think if Broad gets to the front, no one's catching him. And here comes Bull, back down the inside for third. Definitely had the pace to be a contender in the opening heat, Adam, had it not been for bad luck.
Oh, he almost...
Oh, Funslow's off.
Yeah, he almost had another slide and a half Funslow there, so he's just got away with that one. But yeah, we've seen for over many seasons, once Stephen gets himself into an open wheel, he's got some pace behind him, so it's no surprise to see him working his way back towards the front.
Indeed. Main straight again, and Bull the leader, remains the leader. Heppel, Broad, Bull, Funslow, Deeney and Leach. So Heppel's margin is now actually out to 1.6. So he's responded to the threat at Broad with that fastest lap of the race. Stephen Bull's still under threat from Funslow. Oh, He was a little bit wide, but they're using that runoff area rather loosely, aren't they? Bit Watkins Glen-esque, really. Yeaman fastest lap of the race, but it'll amount to nothing because at the moment he's 12 seconds off the top 10. So it'll be 11th. It'll be his worst finish of the campaign since... Actually, no, it will be just his worst finish of the campaign. He has not finished outside the top 10 yet.
That small contact just broke his suspension.
Yeah, well, that's right.
What do you think? So Drew Halloran goes a bit wide. And as they go past, there's a little clip of the wheels, and that just breaks. The similar may happen at that little there, boom,
wow.
And that's done the suspension on him. So I had a similar thing with the IndyCars it's not load on both the suspensions.
Yeah.
So I had a similar thing at in the IndyCar at what's it? I don't know about Portland.
Yep. Don't forget GT3 still to come from the Sachsenring. Probably not expecting the biggest numbers in the world again. The fatigue factor kicking in from the weekend that was for some. But the AM split and the Pro AM split both well and truly up for grabs tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And next week, God, I'm excited for this. 90 minutes around Road America. That is going to be electric. That is going to be awesome. Stephen Bull, fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 9.771. He's trying his best to try and reel in Tyson Ford. It's just not working for him. Here comes Guy Leach, close battle on the racetrack. To the outside of Brendan Deaney. Guy Leach to the outside, goes to 5th. Rollo all over the back of Bradbury as well. They're fighting for 7th. Whoa, there we go. Trouble. Halloran was just trying to get out of the road, I think you'll find. And Leach has cleaned him up on the way through.
Yeah, Halloran's off the track. But yeah. Unfortunately, guys, it's going a bit deep.
Wide.
It's going deep and there's a car there.
So Bradbury now under pressure. Rollo's off the road. Just when it looked like we might have had a battle to talk about, Rollo's put it off. Into the weeds. Unbelievable. And Halloran off the road, well off the road again.
Oh, he's trying to continue on with that same wheel damage.
Yeah, that was never going to work. Surely
because I'm pretty sure he's done a whole lap, right?
And have a look at him now, just venturing through the weeds. Fantastic. Baldwin, Baldwin, of course, sitting down in pit lane out of business. That's Mark Heppel on screen. In the Stewart-inspired Ribbons Barrichello Johnny Herbert era of Stewart-inspired livery. Tyson Broad, Stephen Bull, Adam Fanslow, Brendan Deaney. We are on lap 9. I reckon we're good for 4. Across the line here. It's 4 minutes and 20 left on the clock. We're about 4:40 away from the checkered flag, so 20 seconds of overtime. We're good for 13 laps in this race. So 9 and 13 is 22. Not bad for 25 minutes worth of work. Still none the wiser to who's going to win this thing. Will it be Heppel or Broad? Bull is 3rd, Fanslow 4th. All those minor positional battles look as though they've sorted themselves out. Not the result Sam Chapman was hoping for. It now becomes a win it or bin it approach next week at Sebring, I think, for him. I don't see any conceivable way in which Chapman can win unless Yeaman has an absolute shocker. Somewhere along the lines of, a DNF, a crash and burn. And then Chapman's got to go out and clean up all the bonus points and everything else on offer. We'll have a look at the points situation and the equation and everything else very shortly, but that's the way it's heading at the moment. On board with Broad, 3 to go. And we wouldn't, A, because he's a commentary colleague, and B, because he's been so good all season. We wouldn't wish that upon Dan Yeaman, but Sam Chapman will take the win any way he can get it. He would be the only happy man in the paddock if bad luck. It's not the way you want to win a championship, Adam, but you've got to take those chances when they're presented to you, irrespective of who the misfortune falls upon.
You know, if Chapman can ever win any championship by 1 point, I'm sure that'll give him a little bit of a redemption, give him a bit of a redemption in his heart for the GT4 a couple of seasons ago. There's a chance this could be a three-way fight soon. Stephen Bull is not far behind these guys.
No, that's right. He's fast running out of time, though. Time is the enemy. It's 0.6 first to second, and then 1.4 back to Bull. 2 to go.
He's in range that if Heppel puts up a hard defence here, he'll be right on him. Oh, black flag for Drew Halloran because he's been shook on the track.
Absolutely, and also a slowdown with the incident points as well. So the best of, the worst of both worlds there for him. A minute and a half to go. It'll be one at the line. Broad closes to within 0.4 of a second. Heppel's wide, but it's okay. As I said, Heppel, when he's been here, hasn't finished inside the top 10 all campaign. It changed that tonight. He started 7th, which means he finished 4th in the first race. Now he's leading. Can he go out there and get his first podium of the term and his first win as well? Or is Tyson Broad about to snatch this out from under his grasp right at the death? White flag flies figuratively. You can't actually see it on your screen at the Ben Motorsport Park. Final lap. Final chance. Heppel, Broad, Bull, Funslow and Deeney the top 5. I think it's a bridge too far for Stephen Bull now, unless these two tangle. Broad's going to be close enough to have a crack, you would think. But as Adam Lavis has already highlighted this term, the slipstream has not been the aid that it would normally be. Here's Broad, lunging. Not close enough. Heppel's wide, but Broad tucks in and follows through. As far as I'm concerned, he's only got 2 opportunities here. If he doesn't have a look going into the second last corner, he needs to make it work on the last corner. Heppel's not put a foot wrong so far. This is now or never for Mark Heppel. Broad tucks in behind. Orbit drop there, revealing a new livery tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. So will they go out on a winning note with the All Black? No. Last turn, checkered flag, and wide goes Broad. Heppel gets the job done at the bend. Victory in South Australia. Credit to Broad and Bull, though, up 16 apiece from the rear of the grid. Avoided all the carnage on the opening lap, and there was plenty of that. To second and third they go. Funslow, Deeney, Bradbury, Rollo, Van Leach, Yeaman got back to 9th in the end, so it might not actually be his worst round after all. Adam will have fun crunching the points for us there in just a moment, because he had a 2nd and an 8th, and a 1st and a 9th won't be too far different to that. Wakefield in for 10th. Chapman only able to manage 11th in the end. And Hudson will round out those that finished on the lead lap. Chapo just showing his disgust with the night that was. Hilton, Booth, Luke, Brooker both finish a lap down. JD Dent finishes 2 laps down. Halloran, Baldwin, Proctor and Henn round out the finishing order. Or not finishing order on that note, really. Halloran 3 laps down, he'll be okay, but Baldwin, Proctor and Henn all caught up in the opening lap shenanigans. Well, have a look at these two blokes. very prompt in making their presence known in central commentary. Hello to Stephen Bull, hello to Tyson Broad. There are the results for you, ladies and gentlemen. Jeez, had it been another lap, had it been another two. Mark Heppel didn't put a foot wrong, though. Credit to him. Joins the winners list in Waste Options Super Formula Light and sends the message that he's got the pace. He just hasn't had the luck this season. As I said, going into tonight, he's snagged 2 top 10 finishes. Prior to that, he couldn't get a top 10 to save himself. 12th, 13th, 18th, 19th, 13th. But now 2 top 10 finishes to show for it and a very good night out, possibly the round win to go with it. Tyson brought in for second and Stephen Bull third. Oh dear. Let me start with you, Stephen Bull. I'll come to Tyson just a moment. Great to see you back on the grid, mate. Where have you been?
Just having fun in the GTEs. You know, I was kind of a little bummed that we didn't get the IL15 again. These aren't my favourite open wheelers, but you know, I gave it a little run, seeing that this track was coming up. I really liked the layout. I hadn't driven it before, and I thought, you know, this is probably going to be a good race, and I'd come along.
Fair to say luck didn't go your way or Tyson's way in Heat 1, but you well and truly made up for it in Heat 2, despite having to play dodgem cars and avoid so much carnage in that opening lap.
Yeah, you know, there was plenty of luck in that second one for me. You know, I think I went from last to 6th in one lap there, and there wasn't many, you know, legitimate overtakes from me there. But I made all my own luck in the first race. You know, that was all me, rookie mistake, just gassing it up and looping it. So, you know, apologies to Tyson there. I believe he's the one I took out, and getting in the way of someone else on the rejoin there. But yeah, the second race was a lot of fun.
Indeed it was. It looked like a lot of fun as well. From your standpoint, had that been another 5 minutes, maybe 3 laps, would you have been able to rattle the cage and upset the apple cart there with Tyson, Mark?
Yeah, I think Tyson would have been asking for one more lap, and you know, I think I probably needed 3 to 4 to really get into that. I didn't really have much pace on Tyson, but I think once they started getting together, you know, I was right there. So, you know, 2 or 3 laps, and I think I would have been part of that battle pack for sure.
Now that we've got an opportunity to talk about the circuit, mate, impressions on the West configuration of the bend. For mine, it's the best of the bunch.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, it's my first time driving around it, and I actually really liked that transition section where you go from the, you know, sector 1 to sector 3 kind of, and
yeah,
it works well in these cars.
Indeed it does, and aren't we lucky, of course, to have had some great open wheel racing here on this configuration, and even the legends on an abbreviated version of this configuration throughout the course of the last 12 months. You mentioned GTE, penultimate round comes up this Friday night. Thoughts on how that's all going to play for you?
Yeah, I think it might be a bit of a struggle this week. Got the new tyre model and all that on the GTEs, and around Monza last week, first time ever, started getting late stint understeer, which you should kind of expect in a Porsche, but hasn't been an issue before now. And being Phillip Island, I think that's going to be a bit of an issue for me, so I'm going to have to work that out.
Indeed. Where else might we see you pop up and have a steer over the course of the next couple of weeks, mate? Any urge, any inkling with regards to the new Porsche?
No, not really a fan of the Cup car. Just doesn't really sit right with me. Just the driving style. I'm not too fussed on the assist and all that. But tomorrow, FDL's running a Indy at St. Pete Grand Prix. That's going to be good. And
nice.
And then I think it's GTE for the rest of the season, and then just looking at what's going to come around next season.
I was going to say, actually, I have had the boys from FDL be in touch with regards to being on their commentary roster in a backup capacity. Nothing more has come of that conversation as yet, because I said to them, you've got to speak to my people, which are, of course, the committee of the GSRC. And I said, come back to me if it's not perceived as a conflict of interest from the GSRC. So maybe I'll see you there, Stephen. Maybe I won't. Hey, that was unlucky in race 1, lost the rear end, and unfortunately that was where Tyson brought up and ended.
Yeah, I learnt my lesson for the next race and sort of found myself in that same position and decided just to go for the over-under instead of sticking it around the outside. And then here just made the mistake of not being predictable, and as you can see, the result of that. Not my proudest moment, but yeah, just haven't been in these cars for a couple of seasons now, so just not quite being on it, but glad that kept my nose clean in that second race.
All right, mate, very nicely done. Nice to see you back out there. What are the chances that we might see you turning up next Monday night for another cameo in these when we go to Sebring?
Yeah, sounds fun. I mean, Sebring's always my go-to track when you guys ask me where you'd like to see the series go, so I might have to show up for that, or else someone might call me out on it.
Exactly. At least there's someone in the club that actually likes the circuit, unlike our good mate Nick Fodiatis, of course, who often lobbies against going to the famous airfield in Florida. Well done, mate. We'd love to see you out there next week. Just make note, everything starts 15 minutes earlier because it is a 45-minute race next Monday night. So if that all works in nicely with your commitments and your time frame, we look forward to seeing you on the grid. Well done again tonight. Anyone you want to thank?
No one to thank. Just you guys and everyone in the race. Good racing all round, and always good to see the broadcast. So thanks, everyone.
All right, very nicely done. There he is, Stephen Ball. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Let's press on to Tyson Broad, who, look, let's be honest. That was a magnificent fight back in the second race. Mark Heppel has had his fair share of incidents throughout the course of this term. The one night he avoids incident is probably the one night you would have liked to have seen him make a slight muck up on the final lap there, Tyson, to take full advantage of it, but still a magnificent fight back from being on your lead in race 1 to being front and centre in the fight for the lead in race 2.
Yeah, definitely. Just a little disappointed I couldn't get Mark right there at the end. Sort of in the last 2 laps, actually figured out how to get time in somewhat affected air. So, yeah, unfortunately I didn't figure that out early. Otherwise I would have been able to make a bit more of a race of it. But, yeah, credit to Mark for withstanding the pressure and not making a mistake.
On that subject, actually, just watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Watch all the garbage go to the left and right of Tyson Broad, and watch this opening lap. We're only halfway through it in Heat 2, and he's already up to 5th. That was the dream start. You couldn't have asked for more than that.
Yeah, definitely. I was just sort of laughing my head off when I was getting through it all, go, what on earth is going on? And I just couldn't help but laugh. Yeah, it was a magnificent opening lap. Probably one of my better ones, just down to the amount of carnage that was going on and me managing to avoid it this time instead of getting involved in it.
I've got to speak to your teammate in just a few moments' time, because I reckon he might have just put one hand on the title tonight, even with his own misfortune in race 2 there. But Tommy Wilkinson was just alluding to a couple of things here, mate, in the chat thread, and it prompts me to ask you your thoughts on how it's all playing out. He mentioned to watch this space tomorrow night because the All Black will be no more. That livery is temporary. But we know that something big is on the way tomorrow night. We're looking forward to watching this space and seeing what you guys reveal for, as far as your team colours are concerned, for 2026. You got the Pro Series, of course, starting up on Wednesday night, which I know there's a big focus on that from your team standpoint. Same for the Porsche Pro in a couple of weeks. But how tired is the stable feeling after doing the round-the-clock classic yesterday on the mountain?
Yeah, definitely. Some are feeling it. Some are a bit better. I'm probably still feeling it, even though I raced tonight. So, yeah, it was definitely tiring yesterday with that 12-hour, but yeah, definitely some exciting news tomorrow, which I'm sure Dan can allude to maybe what time specifically will be announced tomorrow on our socials. But yeah, definitely very exciting.
Indeed. From your standpoint, I also have to ask this question. Were you wheeled in as potential reinforcement for your teammate here in his championship aspirations? Because we know that Mark Hilly had a little role to play there a couple of weeks ago, played it beautifully. Were you here to help with that assignment that is Yeoman getting across the line and saluting the judges and claiming victory here?
Well, I think given 1 point in race 1, I think I ran him off the track. I'd say no to that one. And yeah, Dan's been pretty adamant to not race this unless we actually want to. So yeah, I sort of had intrigue. I'd never done a race around the west configuration of the bend, so I wanted to give it a go. And yeah, as Steven said, it was really good for racing. I guess at a turn 3, after I'd overtaken Dan and Steven in race 1, I was like, oh, can it be the international layout just so I can break away? But no, on the whole, it did produce good racing throughout the night, and yeah, hope it reflected in the broadcast.
Certainly did, mate. I'm all for the West configuration being used permanently for every category that we bring here and every other configuration being abolished, but I might be biased. The best races I've called so far have been on this circuit, no doubt about that. Unlucky in that first race, mate. Nice recovery in the second race. What does the rest of the week look like, please?
Wednesday night I'm busy spotting for Mr. Blacklock in Pro Series. Yes. And then I don't know what the rest of the week looks like. Maybe I run GTEs, maybe I run P Cup. We'll see what happens, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Indeed we will. Who do you want to thank before I let you go, please?
Just the fellow drivers for racing tonight. I know Steven and I got together, but there's no hard feelings there. It was just racing. And obviously the team back at Orbit Drop there for the ongoing support, and the club for putting on the event broadcast.
Very good to catch up with you as always, mate. Well done. Obviously you'll be busy Wednesday night, which means we won't see you on the Supercar grid, which is unfortunate because I'm a bit worried about how little the turnout will be. However, looking forward to catching up with you at a later point in time as this season quickly draws to a close. Maybe come and have a steer around Sebring next Monday night for fun.
Yeah, debating it. Well, it's looking more likely that I might, given the pace I had tonight. So, yeah, we'll wait and see.
Excellent. Very nicely done. Looking forward to it. Appreciate it, mate. Go well.
Thank you.
Chapo, what have you got to do to win one of these bloody things, please?
Yeah, I don't know. There's something I got to kill, or I'm not quite sure. Yeah,
are you in the car at the moment, going somewhere? Because you don't sound like you're in the office.
I've been outed. Yeah, I'm driving the campaign van. I've got to go do some rosters after this boots on the weekend. But I thought I'd jump in still. I've still got 10 minutes. So.
Oh, you wanker. Hey, listen, that is going to be fascinating viewing for the South Australian audience on Saturday night. Of course, he's talking about the state election, ladies and gentlemen. But I love the multitasking ability. 10 points for that. Not the result you would have been hoping for here, mate. Race 1 was all right. C's parted for you beautifully there. Unfortunately, taking evasive action to avoid this incident meant that you lost 3 seconds to Dan Yeoman. But in the end, the second was all right. Race 2, however, left a lot to be desired.
Yeah, it did, and it was actually a very similar incident, just with less cars around. And I had dodged it in a very similar way and had got around it. And then, Dan came around the outside. I looked back, it missed me. It was just all net code, and that was the damage to my car. So, very unfortunate there, because otherwise it would have been a good race if iRacing hadn't got involved with some rubbish code. But that's that is what it is in this game. So relatively happy with our performance tonight, all things considered. But home ground advantage and all right.
Well, that's exactly right. Rather unfortunate. Stay with me a sec. Coming back to you, Dan Yeoman, welcome into you at this point. Well done on the win in race 1, 5th win of the season. Unfortunately, no one's been able to double up at a sprint round this term, proving how hard it is to win 2 races in one night in Super Formula Light. But I couldn't help but notice the irony of how iRacing handles their mechanical meatball flag. We didn't see one next to your name. You still ended up on pit road because you'd lost your front wing, and Chabo got meatballed, and that looked like his car was in better tact.
Yeah, I mean, very unlucky for the both of us there, I guess. In some respects, obviously, that was a little fortunate for me in the grand scheme of the season that it ended up derailing Sam's race, of course. But it's a bit of, obviously, it's kind of just that's me being a bit of a cynical and thinking about the season that is and has been. That sort of meant we both had to come to the pits because for a couple of corners I thought it might be okay, but then we got to that last turn and just naturally no front wing even with cold tyres. It was a complete dump truck. So I knew of course that we had to get that thing fixed up pretty snap pronto to try and salvage anything. And thankfully, we were able to get back inside the top 10 tonight in that feature at least. So not the worst turnaround at the end of it.
No, not at all. Chapo, I know you're busy, so let me finish with you briefly here. What are the chances of election work, preparation, etc., derailing your appearance on Wednesday night in the Legend cars, please?
Fairly high, but yeah, we'll see how we track. I think I've still got a decent enough drop round in that series, so if it does come to pass, it's not the end of the world, but yeah, it's getting a bit risky, so hopefully I'll be able to make it. It was good that I was able to just make it tonight, but we'll see how we track, or what can be delayed to Thursday.
Straight back onto organising ballot papers and other things for you. Next week, Sebring. I'm looking at the numbers here. In fact, Adam Lavis has already crunched the numbers, so we can probably have a look at those. 45 minutes of journey next Monday night, Sebring. Adam Lavis can explain what that all means with regards to the point situation in just a moment. But the margin going into the night is going to be 42, and it's in favour of Dan Yeaman. 391 plays, 349 and 340 for Ryan Jones, who wasn't on the grid tonight. Has one round still, drop round still to fall back on, believe it or not. But even that won't help him get up into second position. He would need to, of course, I'm just having a look at that. 31 for you would give you, if you were to DNF next Monday night, Chapo, that would give you 31 back, which means you're 380, which means Ryan Jones with 41 would go 381. So you could actually lose second by a point, not first for a change. If he wasn't to turn up next week, he might get derailed with preparations to go to Penguin Island. But in saying all of that, it's looking almost like Yeaman needs to have an absolute shocker next Monday night if you guys are going to overturn that deficit, because even with the 42 advantage, he gets 47 back irrespective of what happens next week if he has a shocker in DNFs, for instance. So therefore, all of a sudden, it's looking like to snatch this total out from under his grasp, you'd have to go out, claim pole position, have a clean race, and claim a race win. The odds of that are?
Oh man, anything's possible, Zach, as the South Australian Liberal leader likes to say. So we'll hold it to that.
Oh dear, that's enough politics for one night. You can tick that off your bingo card, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't me this time. Chapo, go well for the rest of the week, mate. We know you're busy. Thank you for that. And we'll catch up soon, buddy. Go well.
Cheers, mate.
And at a later point in time, when you're not so busy, we'll have a chat about the OSR 12 hour as well, because I know it was a big day for you guys there and a pretty solid result too. Nice to actually hear you having a chat with the boys on the broadcast late in the piece there as well. And speaking of that, Dan Yeaman, obviously, how difficult was it to go from GT mode yesterday to switch back into SFL mode today? And just how fatigued are you feeling after the weekend that was? Because when I was tuned in, and I was tuned in for probably the last 7 hours of the race, they had you front and centre with your driver race cam on for a good portion there. And am I right in saying that you might have been in the car during the worst of the weather?
That's correct. Yeah, I drew the short straw from from my BMW for the weekend, and they put me in as the rain, put me in before the rain arrived, and then I drove all the way through the rain. So, a bit of a rough one. In that stint, we did find the fence twice and popped the boot lid off the BMW at both of those points, but miraculously didn't damage it much more than that. So we're able to patch the car up across the course of the race, stay on the lead lap pretty much the entire time, and then hand it back to Lockhart to handle the slick immediate conditions, and that really helped us out a bit there. Then him and I sort of shared that around to finish the race off. So end of the day, I botched qualifying in wet conditions as well on the Saturday evening, and we had to start 28th and be able to get it back to P7 at the end of the day. We were pretty damn happy with that, myself, Lockhart, and Scott Rankin.
Well, that's exactly right. Two guys that dabble in a bit of work on this side of the fence, also showing that they're pretty handy on that side of the fence as well, which was really good to see. And nice to see, actually, Rankin get some seat time. He's so busy with the commentary side of things these days. And before anyone asks, no, I'm not venturing into any sort of sim racing myself. I don't have a rig, I don't have the setup, I don't have the room, and I don't have the talent. But let's go back to you, mate. Solid day yesterday, crazy race. Let's be perfectly honest. But how do you pull up from that and then quickly turn your attention back to SFL?
Fortunately, reasonably well today. Although I then had to get off the rig, get to sleep, and then get into work this morning a little earlier than I would have liked, 7 o'clock. And there was a bit of some fun stuff there with work today, but that's a bit of a story for another time. Fortunately, it's a case of being able to jump back into this thing and you just thrash the wheels off this car. And as long as you're not hopping too many curbs, such as the big Apex sausages, it's pretty forgiving around here. So it's pretty much a point and shoot. So made sure to get back in that rhythm. We haven't had actually, I don't think we've had any wet weather this season as well to worry about. So
Donington really, and that was about it.
Pardon me, yes, of course, I should have remembered Donington, given I did race that and make a meal of one of those race starts. So yeah, being able to jump in dry conditions and know that it's a car, it's all about, just point the thing, slam the brakes as late as you can, and stick the throttle on pretty aggressively too. It's a pretty forgiving car to come back to at the end of the day versus what we were racing yesterday with the GT3s and the conditions across the top of the mountain.
Hard to believe that it's not your worst points haul of the season, but it was your worst individual race finish of the season, mate. Race 2 and 9th place. But unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time. But as we've already worked out with Chapo, no harm, no foul, because your championship's still very much intact.
Yeah, lucky on that front, yes. And yeah, just unlucky that it looks like it may have been JD. Just inched over a little bit on the run to turn 1 to open up his corner entry, but there was a car between him and I, and just squeezed things over. And yeah, I just had a good enough launch that was the only real spot for me to take without lifting out and cutting across the inside. But I guess it's a lesson learned to perhaps always prioritise the inside of the corner above most other things in a situation where a mid-pack like that.
And whilst we're talking about, you mentioned work there a few moments ago, rather unfortunate that it's going to rule you out of being with us again this Wednesday night. But that's a double-edged sword, mate, because it also means you miss out on keeping an eye on the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series and the Orbit Drop Bear hopefuls running in that series. But let's fast forward. Let's talk about next Monday night. SFL season finale, Sebring. More points on the line, and as we've already detailed, it's not a clear-cut equation. You still need to probably turn up and bank some points just to ensure that you can tick the box and get the job done.
Yeah, with 90 points for the race up on offer, which is more than we've had at any point this season. They do need to hopefully be able to race. Unfortunately, work schedule won't be known until later this week, so whilst we've made it 9 weeks out of the 10 without interruption here on an early stage of a Monday night, can only cross my fingers and hope that continues on, because there's no guarantee of that yet. Because if I do miss out, I'd get back some points from a previous drop, which would have been last week's racing, I think, or maybe.
That's right. Yeah, 47. Yep.
Well, actually, I think I got a 44. Actually, no, it's the Road America round from the start of the season. Fourth place finish there was a single race, 44 points. That's what I'll be potentially sacrificing. So it would mean that I'd still be in with a shot, but obviously it's far too nebulous to be relying on something like that. So hopefully we can sort it out on track and continue to put a good foot forward with a longer race format, bring back a pit stop. But yeah, Sebring, it's the kind of car I haven't taken to a track like Sebring before, so that's going to be hopefully a good experiment when we get to it next week.
All right, very nicely done. Sebring's going to be fantastic. Looking forward to that. 45 minutes, I think, 2 CPS requirement in that as well. So looking forward to the grand finale. And you mentioned it. We should remind everybody at home, and I'm sorry that Chapo's already left the house, 7:25 Eastern Daylight Time. We're on air because that race starts at 7:30 as opposed to the usual 7:45 starting time that we've had through much of this season. So 7:30 is when that gets underway. It's an extra 15 minutes and it's being run earlier to ensure that we can still start GT3 from, how's this for, at top and tail of the season alignment, where the SFL season campaign started. Famed Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, from 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. So we're looking forward to that. What does the rest of the week look like for you, please, from a racing standpoint, please, Mr. Gaiman?
Unfortunately, not a lot of that. That's going to be available on the cards. Tomorrow night, haven't taken part in Tuesday night racing this season just with the way everything else has worked out. That's likely to keep tabs, as we've discussed there. Work ties me up on Wednesday evening. And then looking at Thursday and Friday, we may be able to do a cameo appearance on Thursday.
Oh, nice.
So don't have anything on in the evening then. We'll be tied up again with another long day at work on Friday, though, to round out the racing week, at least when it comes to the major championships here. So no chance to try out the new GTEs just yet with their updated tyres.
Yeah, that'll be a big talking point. Looking forward to seeing how Joe Baldwin and Liam Banks tackle that as well. And I'm already looking forward to Term 2 and hopefully seeing some racing around St. Petersburg. From a selfish standpoint, Eamon, what would you like to see on our racing schedule for Term 2, please? Obviously, the mainstays, the GT4s, the Supercars, the GT3s, and the Porsches will most likely stay. What else would you like to see built around that if you had your way?
Oh, put me on the spot. Jeez, why don't you?
Absolutely. I don't get a chance to do it.
I will admit, okay, yeah. Okay, fair call. Tyson's given me a free one to pick up. It'd be good to see the Road to Indy come back. Now we've got hybrid system as a little bit of curve style bonus power to play with, and also rain tyres as an option, so you can now add weather into the mix with that car there, in addition to the dry weather strategy as well. So I think that would be a car that, again, I enjoyed racing it here previously. And some new stuff to learn with that thing. It'd be cool to stick around, see it come back, get some more seat time if the scheduling works. Because a bit like Stephen, I'm hoping to get on the grid actually tomorrow night for that FDL open race and give it a steer there.
All right, very nicely done. I'm all for Formula V, as you two gentlemen know. So looking forward to that. We'll see what the schedule looks like in due course, I am sure. Hopefully your diary's clear on the 31st of March as well to go and represent the GSRC and the Super Formula Light Australian Open World Nationals as well, Yeoman, as our champion-elect. It would be only too right for you to lead the charge, although who knows if you're out there and Lavis is out there and whoever else. I don't know who's going to bloody well broadcast the thing, but we're looking forward to it all the same. Good to catch up, mate. Hopefully we'll get a chance to do it next week. If not, have a chat after the race on Thursday night. And anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Just quickly, a big shout out to everyone at Orbit Drop Motorsport. Obviously looking forward to sharing our news for this year. About 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow evening. Yes. We'll have that up, and then that'll be raced for the first time on the Wednesday night, of course, with our guys in V8 Pro. So to those boys who are off practicing at the moment, so sacrificing a bit of their race time to be ready for that one. Fingers crossed for Sam, Brad, and Lockie to kick off the season well there. Thanks to Tyson for coming out, having a steer, and giving me a good race in that first one. Before, unfortunately, things went pear-shaped for him, and then I didn't get a chance to pay it back when things were pear-shaped for me in race 2, but such is life. It's the rest of the field here tonight. Good racing from what I saw, despite the drama with the race starts and cold tyres. Such is life, unfortunately, there. And look forward to watching this all back, and thanks to yourself and Adam for making the broadcast possible here once again.
Our pleasure as always, mate. Like would we be anywhere else on a Monday night? It's been our mainstay commitment for the last 6 years, and if it goes for another 6, the well, the bank balance isn't going to complain. There's no doubt about that. Thank you, boys. Appreciate that. Go well. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Cheers, Zach.
Tyson Broad, Stephen Bull, and Dan Yeaman. A quick break on the platforms of the GSRC, and I mean quick because we'll have GT3M on the grid from the Sachsenring in just a few moments. Platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. Great to have your company this Monday night, the eve of St Patrick's Day 2026 across Facebook and YouTube. We are heading to the Sachsenring in Germany now for the first of two races tonight in GT3. First up, our coverage of the AM sprint race and then the feature race from the Pro-Am split. Short, depleted, small field tonight, but we'll go for quality over quantity, won't we, ladies and gentlemen? And if you're at this point of the championship, you're still in contention, well, you'd be damn, hard-pressed, and you'd be up against yourself, really, to be missing in action tonight. It's in your best interest to be here or be squared. Jesse McManaman leads the way, 307 place, 299 for Nathan Harvey, Martin Davis on 279, 261 for Tristan Kosh, and 246 for Braden O'Loughlin. I'm just having a look down through this field. Braden O'Loughlin's there, yep. Nathan Harvey is there, yep. Martin Davis. Actually, let's just have a look at the grid and we'll tick them off as we go, shall we? Have a look at that. The top five covered by just 61 points. JD Dent's taken pole position here, and he's done so from Martin Pedersen, Jesse McManaman. Oh, Christ. Martin Davis in for fourth place, Anthony Cuthbert's in fifth place, Nathan Harvey sixth place, Braden O'Loughlin, Luke Wegener, Edward Rollo and Tristan Kosh, before we go back to Jake Cowman and Tim Watson rounding out this field. And Logan Griffin's starting from pit lane. In fact, he may have even just exited the server. 12 o'clock local server time, 11 kilometre an hour, winds in a northwesterly direction. And of course, we're looking at 40% humidity, cloudy conditions, 24 on track. And so far, it is dry. There's a little bit of cloud around, but nothing in it. Adam Lavis, and the reason for the blasphemy from me a few moments ago is we've got a full formation lap to work our way through here. The circuit is 3.6 kilometres. It is the full and only configuration of the Sachsenring. It is most synonymous with the MotoGP German Grand Prix each and every year. We're looking forward to seeing how this one might play out. 37 minutes for the feature, 21 minutes for the sprint, or 15 laps, whichever comes first. I just want to touch on a couple of things there. Dan Yeaman mentioned the Orbit Drop Bear livery reveal tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's 4 o'clock on the West Coast and 9 o'clock in New Zealand. And for everybody else, you can figure it out for yourself, because I'm not going to give you that courtesy. Although you can't say I don't do that occasionally, because if you go and have a look at the broadcast banners we put up, it's got 6 different time zones mentioned on it each and every week. Each and every banner has all the 5 time zones in Australia, including Queensland's minus 112 years and 1 hour. And of course, we also have New Zealand daylight time as well, as what that equates to in GMT, so that you can do the mathematics for yourself, whether you're tuning in right around the world. As far as the manufacturer breakdown is concerned tonight, Porsche, Ford, Mercedes, Corvette, Lamborghini and Audi and McLaren all represented out there. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different manufacturers. No BMW, no Acura, no Aston Martin, and no Ferrari in this field. This championship's pretty tight. Adam Lavis, no doubt about that, but good to see that the top 7 of the championship, from what I can ascertain here, are all on the grid, albeit Tristan Kosh's got a bit of work to do down there in 10th.
You know, the airfield might be a bit small, but they've had a fairly strong, consistent contingent. So the guys that are here have been here most weeks. So, and they're all pretty close with each other in pace. So it's going to be an interesting tight battle to the end of the championship.
28 points covers the top 3, 8 between McManaman and Harvey. Who gets the upper hand going into the season finale at Road America? Well, let's find out. We're racing in Germany. Race 1 of 2, race 12 and 13 of 14 in this 10-round GT3 Championship with thanks to Waste Options. The 9th round of 10, the 4th and final sprint round, and it's JD Dent converting pole into an early lead, and a good start from Martin Pedersen as well, but Dent has bolted. 0.9 to the good already. Cleanly through that first big sweeping right-hander. Off goes JD Dent, he's bowled it wide. The Porsche has spun him out into the Armco before he had the chance to flick it back into the left hand and begin the run through that long continuous run of left-hand corners that connect you between Sector 1 and Sector 3, that back half of the lap. That roller coaster down the hill at the end of those left-handers, which of course starts with that right-hander right there. Right, down the hill we go. Pedersen, McManaman. The men that are sitting 7th and also first in the championship at the moment. Davis, of course, sits 3rd in the championship. He sits 3rd on track. Good start from Christian Koch, staying out of trouble to remain 10th. He's got a bit of work to do, and Nathan Harvey remains exactly where he started as well. One lap in the books is Davis! To the inside, McManaman will close the door. But just. Only just. Pro-Am still to come for you, ladies and gentlemen. Front Leap 1-2 at the moment. And we worked out pretty quickly, didn't we, Adam? We've seen this track a few times before at GT3 racing. It serves much better when we go sprint racing here.
Yeah, it is a pretty fun little track, but it is a little tight little bull ring. So, yeah, you need because it is a bit hard to pass, you want to sort of keep the field bunched up. And so the sprint racing is really going to give those people a chance to try and get those moves done. So, but it also is one of those tracks where it is very tough on those right-hand side tyres with this big, long middle sector of completely left-hand corners. So, yeah, you basically, as you can see on the map, you basically do a full 360 going around doing the left-hand corners. So.
Down the hill we go. Martin Davis in 3rd. McManaman is 2nd. Pedersen the leader. JD Dent off track early. Wagner now bowling it wide and gets back on in 7th. Tim Watson is 9th. Christian Koch is 10th. Kalman is 11th. And Dent recovering. On to Kalman's tail now in 12th. Three of 15, so 15 laps the journey. At 1 minute 20 about the lap times around here, so it's, yeah, we'll actually get home before the 21-minute marker elapses on those numbers. 122 is 240, and 3 gets you to 4 minutes. 3 times 5 is 15, 5 times 4 is 20, so 15 laps, 20 minutes, bang, game over. Even if we did have wet weather, we'd go close to getting the full complement of laps in here. McManaman fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 19.830. But that's Mustang leading the way at the moment. And Pedersen needs to get on with it here because really 93 points behind in the championship fight at the moment. He would need everything to fall his way and go the wrong way for his opponents if he was to make a fight of it going into the next round at Road America. Although what works against him, Adam, unlike everybody else around him, all the other guys above him, with the exception of, well, actually, Braden O'Loughlin has 1 drop round to fall back on. Martin Davis really only has 1 because his 2nd drop round was a -1. Everyone else has got some drop round points to play with. Pedersen does not. So he has to make every post to win it here.
Yeah, he does, but he's out in front at the moment, so that is the best way to make that happen. So he's just got to keep it clean. He has had a couple of tricky weeks, the last few weeks in the Mustang, but out in front at the moment, he's got to hold on and see if he can get himself a result.
Here we go, 4 of 15. Pedersen, McManaman, 4 different manufacturers in the top 4 at the moment, and 7 in the top 10. So 7 manufacturers on the grid, all 7 in the top 10 at the moment. This is what happened to JD Dent on the Waste Options replay. Bang, Armco, goodbye. Sorry, the Disruptive Floods replay. It is Waste Options GT3.
Just too much.
I lost my banner there for a moment, Adam. I did the old Anchorman thing.
Yeah, just too much jandle with the cold tyre, and managed to do the Porsche to Volkswagen conversion.
Yeah. Martin Davis, fastest lap of the race. I'm at 19.061. McMenamin. Now Cuthbertson into the 18th, 118.879. And good tonight, gents. Anthony Azzopardi. Is that Trav Azzopardi's handle on YouTube from Race Control there? I'm just looking at the Azzopardi. I'm assuming that's Trav in Race Control. Good tonight. Yes, good evening to you as well. Trav, good to have you on board. Martin Pedersen. Oh no, Pedersen and McMenamin. Pedersen and McMenamin are off the road. Pedersen and McMenamin are off the road. Davis takes the lead. Cuthbertson to second. Pedersen back to third and McMenamin back to fifth. The championship leader has ended up in the weeds with the race leader. And all hell has broken loose in Germany. Was it contact? No.
Oh, they've both just gone wide.
They've just both gone wide. I'm in sympathy. Wowee. Just got it all sorts of wrong going into that corner. Too wide. They were never going to catch it from there. And unfortunately for McMenamin, he had to take sympathy and sacrifice himself, because if he hadn't, he would have just clouded into the entry of Pedersen anyway. Well, that's livened things up, hasn't it? Certainly from the championship standpoint, because Harvey's now gone to fourth. Harvey's the nearest to McMenamin in the points race. Only 8 points covered them coming into this round. Now Harvey's got a real opportunity here to make hay while the sun shines. Luke Wegener in seventh. Chasing O'Loughlin. McMenamin closing in on Harvey. Harvey closing in on Pedersen. Pedersen had the pace. Had track position. Had all the ingredients falling into his lap and going the right way for him. Now he's got a 3.3 second invoice to work with. Cuthbertson chases Davis in the battle for the lead now.
Yeah,
just when you think you know the way the script's going to be written, Adam.
What's the interesting thing about this track, there's a couple of corners that really like to suck you in. So that little double apex left starts the big 360. It is easy to sort of get a little bit lost there, because you think that shoots a little longer than it is, and that's probably what's caught those guys out. They've gotten the throttle and then realised the next corner is straight away, and because it drops away, it's quite easy to really induce some understeer, and it's put them both off. And then you got the last two corners are also similar. The last corner seems to go on longer than you think, so it's very easy to get on the throttle too early and run wide. And the last corner is very easy to get loose in the rear. So there is a lot, like, as much as this track looks sort of simple on paper, it has a lot of little tricky trick-up points that can really catch you out. And as we've seen, the two Juice boys have unfortunately found that. Now they're on the road to recovery.
The long road back as well. We're a half race distance next time by the line, ladies and gentlemen. We're on lap 7 of 15. So next time through, about this time next lap will actually be 7.5 and 7.5 to go. So we'll be down the middle. Rather early at the Sachsenring. Right on board with Nathan Harvey now. All of a sudden that's thrown the battle at the top end of the tree on its lid, because you've now got Porsche leading Corvette, leading Ford. It was Ford leading Porsche a few moments ago. Sorry, Ford leading Mercedes and Porsche a few moments ago. 4 different manufacturers in the top 5. 7 in the top 10. Outside the top 5, you've got 2 Lambos, an Audi, McLaren and a Porsche. Porsche still most represented in the field with 5. As we've come to expect here. And here's Harvey on the run to turn 1. 2 Lambos. And then 1 each. Can't believe I'm saying that. 1 each from Mercedes, Ford, Chev, McLaren and Audi. So still most of the love for the European manufacturers, and specifically the German manufacturers at the moment. Off goes JD Dent for the second time tonight. Through the weeds. And not dissimilar spot of the racetrack that got him earlier. In fact, the only difference there was he found grass, not Armco. Consistency. I like it. Off goes Braden O'Loughlin. Braden O'Loughlin's off the road. He's going to drop down behind Christian Koch and Edward Rollo. Actually, no, he'll hold off Rollo, but he's lost out to Watson and Koch. Through goes McManaman to fourth. He gets by Harvey. That's critical as far as the championship is concerned.
Yeah, Harvey went for a move in a spot that's probably going to be tricky to get a move done, and it's costing the momentum through all those corners, and McManaman's pounced that, taking full advantage.
Wowee. Let's have a look again. Braden O'Loughlin. Oh, jeez. Branch. Oh, the front end's going to be sore after that. Wowee. Back live now, McManaman holding off Harvey. They are chasing Pedersen. Vitally important that they can find a way by Pedersen here. That Pedersen needs to find a way to keep them at bay for his own championship aspirations. He's ahead of Watson. He's ahead of O'Loughlin. He's ahead of Koch. And Watson's only 5 points up the road from him. A little bit bigger gap to Koch and O'Loughlin. And also Davis. But if he can hold off the aforementioned Watson and Koch and also O'Loughlin, and things are looking not too bad for Martin Pedersen to make a late surge in this championship, trying to get into the top 5, at least maybe the top 3 by the end of next week in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. 9 of 15. We start lap 10 now as Martin Davis crosses the line. Wide. There's the move. Martin Pedersen wide coming onto the main straight. His second mistake of the night. McManaman says thank you very much, and straight up the outside to P3 he goes. And even more importantly, Pedersen now tucks in behind his teammate and serves as the defence wall for Nathan Harvey. So it makes the job for Harvey even more difficult than what it already was. McManaman fastest lap of the race. What a way to do that. 1:18.679. And we're going to be giving iRacing a little bit of time back here, Adam Lavis.
Well, you have to do a lap race. It's part of the way the system works.
Exactly. It looks as though we'll get home just around that 20-minute marker. We did have a 21-minute curfew or threshold for it. 37 for the feature. That's coming up from the middle split of the 3. That's the Pro-Am split very shortly for you. There's Harvey going along nicely. Trying to find a way by Pedersen. It's important that he does, but look at the distance. Look at the margin, the gap that McManaman's already put between himself, Pedersen and Harvey. And Pedersen there in the Mustang. The Frog Leap juiced. Sits fourth. Here's a move. Harvey. No, not yet. Not this time. Not yet. Hello to Il Chippo. Tuning in. Great to have so many of you interacting. On Monday nights at least. In our chat thread. Ladies and gentlemen, Sim Racing Club through Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Monday Night Motorsport, live, exclusive and free. Night 1 of week 9 of term 1 of 2026. And this is the main course. Oh, geez, that was close. I thought for a moment there Pedersen was going to end up off the road. Braden O'Loughlin has ended up off the road for the second time. JD Dent goes through to 10th. O'Loughlin back to 11th. That's costly for his championship, but it's a big leg up for Martin Pedersen right now, who's under serious pressure here from Nathan Harvey. 5 to go. Becomes 4 to go at the line. Davis with 4 to go leads them across the start-finish strike. 2 seconds to the good of Cuthbertson, who's under pressure from McManaman. Great recovery from McManaman if he can get back to second. And look at Pedersen getting the big hurry up from Harvey. To the outside to try the up and under. It may work for him. Have a look at this. Pedersen tightened it up on the exit. That balked Harvey a little bit. 555 versus Frog Leap for 4th. Mustang versus Porsche. To answer Mr. Azzopardi's question, absolutely no more for MotoGP. I mean, I'm sure there have been some tin tops and open wheelers and other things, four-wheel variety racing at stage here over the course of time, mate. But not, I'm going to say not predominantly known for it, particularly in our market. For Australians, we normally more commonly associate this circuit with MotoGP and nothing else. So I was a little bit surprised when iRacing announced its addition into the sim server. Is Harvey under enormous pressure to try and get by Pedersen. Pedersen trying everything to keep him at bay. 3 to go this time.
But yeah, it's still one of those tracks. It is a good track. So it can produce good racing. So guys, and the only other sort of main, like predominantly MotoGP track that I would love to see on the service is Brno. I think that would be fantastic to get in the service. We've already got Algarve now, so that's that one ticked off. But Brno is the one it is a fantastic racing track in any class.
I'll second that. That is a corker of a racetrack. Formula V around there would be magnificent.
Formula V around there would take 10 hours.
I know, but it would be worth it. It'd be good fun. Actually, I did hear recently that they're in the middle of finishing the Sakir International Circuit, better known as the home of the, well, cancelled for 2026 anyway, Bahrain Formula 1 Grand Prix. Rumour doing the rounds that Kaya Lami's on its way to the iRacing world as well in South Africa. That will be a good circuit as well to join the fold here. I'm just having a look at the MotoGP schedule actually to see if there's anything else that we can put on our iRacing wish list, quite frankly. We've already covered off Adelaide, of course, taking home the Australian Grand Prix for next year, taking over the hosting rights of that from Melbourne. And hopefully iRacing come out and laser scan that updated edition of the circuit in due course as well. He's Harvey to the outside, second last lap, still can't find a way by Pedersen. He's wide at one again, is Pedersen, but Harvey's balked the exit. Harvey's botched it.
He tried the up and under and lost the rear.
You have a look. Sepang in Malaysia, there's another one that I'd love to see.
Oh,
on
yes.
the iRacing server at some point. We've got Circuit of the Americas, we've got Jerez, we've got, well, we don't have the Bugatti circuit at Le Mans, the internal small circuit at Le Mans. That would be a nice addition as well. And boggles the mind as to why they didn't actually scan that when they went over and scanned the circuit to Lasalle, quite frankly. It's been there long enough. Here's Timmy Watson under pressure from Tristan Koch in the battle for 7th. I'll come back to that in a moment. In the meantime, I want to go back to that MotoGP track hit list at some point because you've now opened a can of worms. We could be here all night discussing the ins and outs of that. Adam Davis,
there's definitely some tracks which are definitely MotoGP specific because the style of the track wouldn't really suit cars. But there are some which the crossover can be made, and you could see some good racing.
I mean, I'm looking through most of that schedule, and we've already got most of the list on the iRacing server anyway. Last lap board in the air, white flag is out. We're going to finish this one early, ladies and gentlemen. The scheduled 15-lap race distance. We're going to get it done inside that 21-minute threshold. Tim Watson there, keeping Tristan Koch at bay. That's important as far as the championship is concerned for Martin Pedersen's aspirations of climbing up the leaderboard. He might have done enough to get by Watson in this race as well. Further down the order, Brady O'Loughlin has come through in position number 11. Cowman in 12th. They'll comfortably see out the bottom of the field. 12 start, 12 finish. That's the thing we like about this split, Adam. They're usually pretty good when it comes to starting and finishing a race. We don't normally see as much attrition here. Have a look at this. McManaman for second down the outside of Cuthbertson on the final lap. He leaves the door slightly ajar. Cuthbertson doesn't accept the invitation. Last turn, checkered flag. Martin Davis is in victory lane. It's a championship defining moment for him. McManaman in for second, Cuthbertson third. Pedersen holds off the fast finishing Harvey, and that's your top 5. 4 different manufacturers in the 4 and 4 different teams in the top 5. They're going to ring for 6. Watson 7th. Kosh will come home in 8th ahead of Dent and Rollo. O'Loughlin and Cowman will round out the field. Important for Davis to get that win. Narrows the deficit to Harvey. But McMenamin is still out in front. And Pedersen has made inroads there on Watson and definitely O'Loughlin, who was only 11th across the line there. The invert pole is going to go to Edward Rollo. That was lively and interesting, especially when the positional move for second happens on the very final lap in the very final sector.
Yeah, that came out. I didn't even notice on something that Jesse had actually closed the gap, so that caught me by surprise in the background there, but good on him. I was about to make a joke about Martin Davis throwing the blue turtle shells out earlier on to get them both off the track, but then they got upstaged by Jesse coming back through the field.
Absolutely. All right, let's take care of a bit of housekeeping here. Firstly, the results, ladies and gentlemen, there they are. 47 seconds covered the field. Davis the winner, 2.5 in the end. Held off McMenamin, good fight back for him to get back to second over Cuthbertson. So still a Martin leading us home, but it was Davis, not Pedersen. He got back to 4th, did Martin in the Mustang. Then Harvey, Wegener, Watson, Kosh, Dent and Rollo make up your 10. There's your invert. And O'Loughlin misses out. He'll start alongside Kalman. He needs a better showing in the second race if he's going to hold on to 5th in the championship tonight, you would think. Going back to that MotoGP list before we quickly take a break. You've got Boream in Thailand not on the server. The International Autodrome in Senna in Guyana is not on the server. That's MotoGP's next stop, of course. Circuit of the Americas is. Jerez is. The Bugatti Circuit at Le Mans is not. Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya is. Mugello is. The Balaton Ring is not. So there's 4 circuits already. And we haven't even got out of the top half of the season. The Czech Grand Prix circuit is not. The Dutch TT circuit is not. That's 6, but I'm told it's coming. Sachsenring is, Silverstone is, Aragon is, Mazzano is, Red Bull Ring is, Motegi in Japan is, Indonesia is not, Phillip Island is, Sepang is not, Qatar is not, Algarve and Valencia. Has the Valencia circuit come to iRacing yet?
No.
I'm not sure. No, it hasn't, but I know it's in the works.
Yeah, it does look very similar to where we were last week. Mizzano. They have similar qualities to Mizzano, so they're a little bit similar aspect. But yeah, so we'll have to.
Yeah, it's about half and half.
Yeah, obviously not all of them will ever make it across, but there are a few gems there that iRacing could pick through.
Absolutely. I mean, the Bahrain circuit's going to be an interesting one. Let's take a break. Waste Options, Monday Night Motorsport for you with thanks to Waste Options, Disruptive Labs, Trophy AI, merch.tgsrc.com and Flash Graphics. Well done to GTM. That was a very good show they put on their last broadcast race of the term. Results from race 2 in the broadcast a little bit later. Results from qualifying race 1 and race 2 of the Pro Split as well. We'll take a very quick break and come back with the qualifying and race 1 results from GT3 Pro-Am and bring you race 2 live, exclusive and free. Night 1 of week 9 of term 1. The platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club and our coverage of GT3 from the Sachsenring continues on the other side. Platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, Monday Night Motorsport. Nice to have you company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world across Facebook and YouTube. This is round 9 of Waste Options GT3, continuing for you from the Sachsenring in Germany. It started a very interesting discussion with regards to circuits that feature on the MotoGP calendar that aren't yet on the iRacing schedule, in the iRacing universe. And it's opened up an enormous can of worms because there's just some good ones in there that we'd love to see in the sim world, but we know the chances are slim. Although, that being said, you know, there have been a couple of surprises in the past with regards to the arrival of circuits on this platform, and we've seen our fair share of them over the course of the last 6 years when we've reconvened here each Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and or Friday night. Across 24 terms of competition. Can you believe it? When we start back up here, I can't believe I'm saying this, when we actually start back up here for the commencement of play in term 2, it'll be my 6-year anniversary of the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. March 15, 2026 is server time in the Pro-Am split. That's the circuit, 3.59 kilometres around. 31% humidity. That's all going to change now for me. Of course it is, because we've updated the time and server. We're transitioning into the race sim section of the server now for you. Race 2, feature race about to get underway. 3 o'clock local server time. 16 km/h winds in a mostly west to northwesterly direction. West tending northwest. 19 degrees the ambient, 29% humidity, 21 on track and dry conditions. The championship situation coming into this round, before we have a look at the results from race 1, would show you that in the Pro-Am split, John Wright was leading the way by 57 points from Paul Wood. 337 plays 280. Dave Oliver 276. Andrew Neal, who will be in here on Thursday night. We're looking forward to that. On 243, Jason Wilkinson 241 and Bobby Camo 223. Eduardo Zamora 195. Jordan Dakin 185. Broden Frem 182 and Derek Fitzgerald 174. Now that's a big difference between first and 10th. 63 points, I should say. 163 points. I told you maths wasn't my strong point. 163 points. The difference between first and 10th at the moment, and it's a Porsche stranglehold on this championship right now. There are only 3 entries not aboard a Porsche in the top 12. Paul Wood topping the timesheets in qualifying ahead of Dave Oliver, Sean Benici, Jason Wilkinson and John Wright. You've got to go down through 15th position and Dale Sharp. Top 15 within a second of one another in that qualifying session. There are 24 cars in the field. And race 1, let's have a look at the results there now for you. Paul Wood and Dave Oliver have come home in that order. Under 0.9 the margin in the end. Sean Benici, John Wright, Neil De Bruin, Jason Wilkinson, Derek Fitzgerald, Greg Heaney, John Akers and Daniel Cheney made up the top 10. That field did spread out a little bit in the latter stages. Good battle 7th through 9th. Cheney just holding off Jeffries to claim the invert pole. Cheney and Akers the front row, and for Robert Drop their Motorsport and Right Sim Racing respectively. Derek Fitzgerald, Greg Heaney alongside one another on row 2. Jason Wilkinson, Neil De Bruin 3, John Wright, Sean Benici 4, Dave Oliver, Paul Wood 5. From row 6 it's Dale Jeffries and Bobby Camo. From 7 Warren Ibert and also Sam Woodhouse. Good to see Dale back on the grid. Dale Atkins and Dale Sharp, plenty of Dales out there actually. Dale and Knight on the platforms of the GSRC there from row 8. Will Ong and Stephen Gallacher from 9, Alan McDonald and Liam Hagan. From 11 it's Andrew Neal and Brett Bradbury. From 12, Brooklyn Redmond, Cooper Frank. No longer in the server. Not taking part in this one, not jumping out on the grid. So they'll be taking no further part in proceedings this evening, it would seem. Ready to fire. This is race 2. This is race 13 of 14 in the campaign. Round 9 of 10. The 4th and final sprint round of the term. We're looking forward to seeing how this plays out. Championship situation in favour of John Wright. He is starting down 8th on the grid. We know that these races are fraught with danger. Let's wait and see how this one plays out. Can I just say too, by the way, a lot of interest in IndyCar this morning. I thought it was a great race in Arlington, Texas. The one thing I take issue with is the lead commentator, who is no Lee Diffie, Will Buxton, saying that yesterday was the 20th anniversary of Michael Schumacher's final win in Formula 1. No, it wasn't. His final win came at the Chinese Grand Prix, but on Sunday, October 1. 2006. And I would have thought he, of all people, given how long he spent in the Formula One paddock, would have known there's a big difference between the Grand Prix 20 years apart and dates and anniversaries being actually on this day. We'll come back to that later. Off and racing race 2 of the Pro-Am split. The run down towards the first quarter, and there's trouble already. There you go. There's your leader, John Akers, in the gravel. He went too deep into the first corner. Cheney's going to bolt clear in the lead. Wilkinson into second and Heaney third. Greg Heaney's up to third. Derek Fitzgerald and John Wright. Dave Oliver up 3 spots already. Benici, De Bruin, Jeffries. Paul Wolf yet to move forward. Now does so. Gets by Jeffries. Lap 1 of 26 here at the Sachsenring. So that's an extra 11 laps on where we were, which is almost an extra 16 minutes of play. Off goes Derek Fitzgerald now. John Akers with a second off-track excursion. Fitzgerald struggling to get back on the black stuff. Does so, but will do so well down the order in 19th, 20th, 21st position. Contact and gone again. He caught up with Brett Bradbury. Wowee. There was an apology from, there goes Neil De Bruin, and he saved it. How? I'm not sure. They are slipping and sliding all over the place on the opening lap. Greg Heaney to pit lane on the opening lap. Did he jump the start? Or is he being picked for something else? Greg Heaney is on pit lane already. And down the outside goes Dave Oliver. Oliver making hay while the sun shines. Unable to get by John Wright just yet. Fending off Sean Benici. Wright is third, up 4 spots. Oliver up 5 spots. Benici up 3 spots. De Bruin down 11. Akers, Heaney, Fitzgerald all down 18. Shocker of a start to them, or for them rather, in this second race. Heaney has stopped for 6.1 seconds. Fitzgerald and Akers, I think, have just gone through the pit lane without stopping, so maybe they've had a drive-through. Wowee. Wowee. Drama aplenty in the early stages of race 2 of round 9. We'll pick it all apart for you a little bit later on, ladies and gentlemen. Looking forward to doing that. There's plenty of feeling in this one early, Adam.
Yeah, lots of everyone's sort of trying to still figure out where they are, and it's a little bit trip over each other, but hopefully they can try and get themselves sorted here, because it's not really a tracking run side by side for too long, but I'm sure they'll figure it out shortly.
Wowee. Across the line we go. Fitzgerald and Akers with an invoice already. Heaney probably a similar invoice to worry about. Probably a second stop coming his way in this race. Bradbury has lost out again to Akers. Wide goes that Whiskey Business Racing entry. In behind William Long, and it was Dale Atkins. And Neil De Bruin's in behind them. Oh, jeez. Off goes Heaney. Off goes Heaney. Turn 1? Yeah. No, not quite turn 1. No, sorry, my apologies. That's more like turn 4, turn 5. Oh, trouble in the wall. Bang! Neil De Bruin gone. And that one will be broken. I would suspect the suspension's gone on that one, and he'll be coming to pit lane for a fast repair. The question is, will he be able to limp it another 23 laps and get it home without having to stop again? The casualties are falling all over the place. Oh, onto the main straight. Sam Woodhouse is gone now. Are you kidding me? Does anyone want to win this thing? Monday night, Motorsport and all hell has broken loose in Germany. It's a tricky circuit. That's why, a bit like Miami and a few other venues we visit, you know, we don't normally attract a huge field. There'll be a few people already, I sense, happy to see the back of this one. Andrew Neal sits 11th. Stephen Gallacher now showing off the road. Duplicate the tonsils and play on. I imagine your replay file's going off its head at the moment, Adam.
I was just trying to find a spot where we can actually go back and look at it. Now Dale's gone wide and let John Akers come through. So Johnny Akers, he's at the worst first lapper in the world, but now he's starting to come back through.
He's recovered to 14th already, and there's still, 22 laps to go. Cheney, fastest of the race, 118.675. Wilkinson and Wright, Porsche 1, 2, 3. Oliver up 5 spots, Wood up 4. So Oliver's got the upper hand on Wood after Wood won the first race ahead of him. John Akers bowled it way too wide into turn 1. Oh, actually got help. My apologies, got help.
He's come in contact with Heaney there, so that might be what Heaney was talking about on the radio.
Yep. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was Heaney or Benici, but yeah, Heaney, you're right. Heaney in the Porsche. Benici in the McLaren, of course. So Heaney and Akers coming together. There's Akers, just Porsche doing Porsche things. They don't drift as well on gravel as they do on the bitumen, it would seem. Fitzgerald, watch this because...
Oh, yeah, you just got loose with the dirty tyre.
We got loose. Now, actually, can we go on board with one of those 2 Porsches behind him and just see if there was a little tap on the way through, which was obviously unavoidable because Fitzgerald was already out of control. Did he get a helping hand from Hagan or Bradbury?
No, he just goes.
Oh, yeah, and how lucky was Hagan to get out of the throttle as well. That's unbelievable.
So, oh yeah.
Greg Heaney, this was his second incident. Turn 1. Ooh. John Akers might look at that one and think karma. Here comes Neil de Bruin. So, did he get it?
Everyone checked up.
Oh, we got balked. Everybody checked up. And he got on the anchors and spun himself. Smashed it into the wall. Hasn't had to come to pit lane yet in the Aston. But I dare say he's running to a number with a severely compromised motor car. Yep, he is. And there goes Woodhouse with the pirouette coming onto the main straight because De Bruin's on the lane now at the end of lap 5. So that happened a couple of laps ago. And De Bruin's been nursing a hamstrung car up until this point and now reports to pit lane to complete the fast repair and his CPS. And he'll be hoping to go through the remaining 21 laps unscathed. Cheney, Wilkinson, Ben Wright, Ben Oliver, Benici, Wood, Camo, Sharp, Ibert. That's Dale Atkins out in the weeds. Saw the dirt being kicked up, but we worried a little bit for the off-track alert to come through. John Wright, the fastest part of the race for the championship leader on 1:18.614. How good. Looking good, Jacob Morganson from Northwind. Come on, son. Hello, Lockie.
Apparently the Pro Boys misbehaving.
Looks like I'm not going to bed early reviewing this replay after the race. No, that's exactly right, Trev. That's exactly right. Get the coffee brewing, son. Greg Heaney. Oh, dear. That's one written off Porsche. And one disappointed G. Heaney. He didn't even bother just driving that one back to pit lane. He could have linked it home from there, but he's like, no, tow road. Thank you. Sean Benici sits 5th in the McLaren. Actually, good to see good manufacturer representation out there. Smorgasbord of Porsches, obviously, understandably. That's been half the course through the first 2 splits in our 3-split series for GT3, thanks to waste options. But there's a Ford. There's actually not actually out on the circuit. Brooklyn Bretton's off the circuit, so there's no Ford in this race. There's an Aston. There's a couple of them. There's an Acura. There's a McLaren. There's a Merc. There's a Bimmer, and that's it. So what's that? 6 different manufacturers. 5 plus the Porsche. No Ford, no Corvette, no Lambo, no Audi, and no Ferrari.
It's interesting. Interesting strap. Benici early stopping from a high position, so they could it's not too. Looks like he's still in the lane, so it could be okay. But yeah, you might. Yeah, it looks like the track's long enough. The pit lane transit's long enough that he shouldn't get too much traffic. So, although he's had a long stop, yeah, he has. He's had a 5 seconds longer stop than Dale Sharp. So interesting there. We'll have to see that how that pans out.
So Heaney and Gallagher on pit road. Benici has been to pit lane, so too is Sharp. It could work one of both ways, couldn't it? It could backfire. If he comes out in traffic, it could completely screw him over, but we'll hope that doesn't happen. Daniel Edmonds watching on from the sidelines tonight instead of being out there in GT3 Pro. You're right, there is plenty going on, mate. Nice to have you tuning in.
Well,
there's 9 or 26.
There's been 4 genuine stops yet so far. And there seems to be 2 pit calculators going on because you've got Gallagher and Sharp on a 9 and a 7 second stop. So they're thinking that they need a few laps of fuel. Then you got Benici and De Bruin who have done 13 and 14 second stops. So they need an extra 2 or 3 laps of fuel. So interesting there that there's been 4 stops and 2 obvious different time windows of fuel put in the car. So we'll have to wait and see which guys have done their calculations correct.
Willong there in 10th place. Yeah, you're right. Calculations will come into it. They'll be key. They always are. Greg Heaney on the tow rope, and I would suspect he might well be done for the night. Gregory? He's more than welcome to come in and have a chat with us whilst he's sitting there helpless in his motor car. Although maybe he'll be just in the ears of the boys that are still flying the Whiskey Business Racing flag out on the circuit in his absence at the moment. So that's Andrew Neal and Dale Atkins and Sean Benici. Did the Northwind boys, Brooklyn Bredden and Cooper Friend, actually enter the wrong split? Is that what's going on, or did they just forget that it was a 2-race format tonight? Warren Ibert, fastest run race, won at 18.580. Questions soon to be answered.
No, they're meant to be.
Third race system.
They are Pro-Am, so this is the correct split.
Okay. But they've obviously just exited early. Which is slightly disappointing for them. Great to have your company, John Akers. Good recovery so far, this. And Derek Fitzgerald, fastest run of the race from down well deep in the order, round 17th. 13 positions down on where he sat, caught up in this early garbage on the opening lap as well. Fought back with a 1:18.549. Down the hill we go. John Akers, we're right on board with him, chasing William Ong. McLaren versus Porsche. Northwind versus Riot.
You see with that complex of left-handers, at the end of it there, because your tyres get hotter and hotter, and the way that they're basically all grip limited to a point, it creates lots of different line variations to try and get yourself a run on somebody. So it does open itself up to good racing that way, as we've always seen with the MotoGPs, and even these guys are trying to find a way to get that done in the cars as well.
John Akers sits there in 10th. Cheney's lead is comfortable. He's 3.6 to the good. John Wright there in 2nd. And Jason Wilkinson, Dave Oliver and Paul Wood make up the top 5. Good recovery that from both Oliver and Wood, both up +5 on where they started.
Ooh.
Woodsy with the bonus points for pole position so far, and obviously the leverage with the win in race 1. That's Warren Ibert having a moment and coming back on in 17th.
He's got a black flag. He's done something in the pit exit.
Oh dear, that's costly for Warren. That's really costly. Have a look at this. Does he hit the jandal too early?
I think he's going to cross one of these lines.
It'll be a merge. It'll be the merge line over here.
Yeah, there. He's just cut it too soon. Cut the
Right
water strip.
That'll crucify you every time, unfortunately. Bad luck. So Warren I back to pit lane, William Ong, and also John Akers to pit lane this time through. Derek Fitzgerald remains fastest start of the race. Hagen also through. Ibert will have to come in again. That's unlucky. Rubs him out of contention here. Luckily, he's not in championship contention, actually, this season is Warren. 131, 206 off the leader, sitting down 17th at the moment. But it's interesting, isn't it? Wright, Oliver and Wood, top three in the championship, doing exactly what they need to do. But Oliver and Wood have got a long, long night ahead of them next week if they're going to deny John Wright the title supremacy.
It's going to be
Bradbury
tricky.
here closing in on Alan McDonald whilst I throw to Adam Lavis. Your thoughts on all of that?
That's it. I think it hold on to it.
Oh, in the kitty litter. They did well to jag that back. That could have been so much worse.
And the other thing too, with this new tyre model, with this next corner, they're going to be careful not to just lose it with dirty tyres. So they've got away with it. But yeah, it's oh, hang on, we lost Bobby.
Oh dear, that's a biggie. That's coming down the hill. That's coming down the hill. Rika Mo has had a monster.
It's the second last corner.
Oh no, it's coming up the hill.
Oh.
Bang. Oh, jeez.
That's a bell ringer.
So he's going to have to try and limp that one to pit lane. He's stuck stationary at the moment. He can't get it going. He's going to have to tow.
I think he hit that hard. He's probably broken a differential. So he probably has very limited, if any, drive.
Now he's on to pit lane. Exactly, Greg. Porsche doing Porsche things, mate. We're looking forward to that description from you in the commentary box, to be fair, but we can understand why you might have chosen not to pass via our booth on your way to the bar. A shot of whiskey. Alan McDonald is passed by Brett Bradbury on the way through. Into 7th now. So black flag still for Warren Ibert. Bobby Camo, the mechanical. He'll be on the tow rope for a little while. Ibert's got to come in this time by, or otherwise iRacing will probably throw him out. Will he pit this time by? No. Yes. Warren Ibert onto pit road. Finally. And asking you shall receive, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you Greg Heaney.
How are we going?
Better than you, unfortunately. At the Sachsenring, not everybody's cup of tea, and unfortunately, nothing went right at that second race for you.
No. I'm not sure if it was me getting inside of John or John going across my nose, but it is what it is, and race control will sort that out. I did apologise because I wasn't sure if it was me or if it was him, but either way. And then, the back just let go coming up the hill on the end of the first lap, and I don't know. I don't know if it was the extra amount of rubber on the road or if it was like my pit crew left the same tyres on from the last race, because the first race certainly didn't feel like that. It actually felt pretty good. And then, race 2, it just did not feel comfortable.
So downside for Woodsy, he's pitted. He's the leader of the pitters, but he's come out right behind Derek Fitzgerald, behind Sam Woodhouse, who is fighting for position even though he still needs to pit, and it is definitely holding Woodsy up. So this is not going towards Woodsy's strategy call.
No, not at all. It's unfortunate, isn't it? I mean, just going back to Greg's point, race control, we're looking forward to an early night, but they've gone and put a pot of coffee on, Greg. There's that much to review.
Oh, look, I mean, I know there was a few called before I jumped out of the Discord channel on the other side, but I don't think it's going to be too bad for him. I think Travis has already intended to get a bunch done tonight, so it's all sorted. So
that's it. Round onto the main straight, Woodhouse now being passed by Paul Wood. Moves up into 12th spot. Fitzgerald is 11th. And top 11 plus Woodhouse all yet to stop. Unfortunate for you, Greg, but I guess that brings us back to the original point here. Woodhouse trying to get back on the inside of Paul Wood, unable to do that. That the Sachsenring is, whilst it's a good racetrack, and we love it when we bring MotoGP to this part of the world every July, it's not everybody's cup of tea. And even for the home manufacturer, it doesn't matter where you go, the slippery rear end of the Porsche bites hard.
Yeah, most definitely. And some of us were even contemplating changing the right-hand side tyres in this race because it was absolutely destroying them after about 12 laps. Both right side tyres were just absolutely dead. Like overheated, overpressured, and it was just chewing them to pieces.
Unlucky. Thoughts on what might unfold when we go to Road America next Monday night? That's probably a circuit far more to everybody's liking. 90 minutes around there. Last bragging rights of the term on offer, and a championship up for grabs for the guys that are still mathematically in contention. Off goes Liam Hagan on that note. Don't know where he was going through the MotoGP slowdown lap lane.
I was going to say, he's doing the Joker lap.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
That was close.
Paul Wood, good evasive action there. Keeps himself alive in this fight. Lap 16 to 26. Road America, 90 minutes. Should be good fun next week.
Yeah, definitely worth the price of admission for that one. So I think that'll be a little bit more enjoyable in the Porsche than it was tonight. So.
What else is on the Whiskey Business Racing agenda for this week, please, mate? I mean, obviously, a lot of the sim racing world coming off the back of a very big weekend with the ISR 12 hour. Hard to believe that we've only got this week and next to come. Sprint racing dominates the agenda in the early half of the week. A Porsche Enduro on Thursday and a GTE 1 hour on Friday night. It is a busy ninth week.
Yeah, so I know we're going to have a fair few cars on track for Porsches on Thursday. I think Aiden's even going to throw his hat in the ring because we told him it's around Nürburgring and there's potential for some moisture on the track. So he was like, "Yep, I'm there."
It's amazing what you're going to do to lure him in these days, actually, quite frankly.
Yeah, I know. He has been rather busy with other stuff and he hasn't really committed 100% to this season. So I'm going to tie him to his rig for the next one so he can't get out of it.
I love it. Can Uvis debut in the last round of GT3? Absolutely, they can.
They can. There is a subset of rules for joining in the last two rounds. So please ensure you have read the club rules and are across all of that. But yeah, no. So for the stable, we've got
You're right, mate. I was just having a look at McDonald coming back out onto the racetrack there, flirting with the pit lane exit lines of adhesion that tripped up Warren Ivett earlier in the piece.
Yeah, I just missed that one. But yeah, so what have we got? We got Legends on Wednesday, Supercars Wednesday, Porsches, and GTE. So I'll be back on track in the GTEs on Friday, and I believe Travis may have also decided to add some moisture there too with the new tyre and everything else. From all reports, it was a pretty good showing on last Friday with the new model and everything around Monza. So
Dale Atkins in the 7th now because Derek Fitzgerald goes through on the inside, coming up onto the main straight. It's tight, it's close, and Atkins is still there to try and get 7th back on the run to turn 1. Top 7 yet to stop. So too Sam Woodhouse. Actually, no, scrap that. Woodhouse is in. Alan McDonald get to stop. Everybody else still rolling around except for Bobby Camo and Greg Heaney in this battle between Atkins and Fitzgerald still raging. Atkins loses out for the moment. He's on the inside again, however. He goes back to 6th. Can Fitzgerald get him back going up the hill? Yes, he can. Have a look at this. Side by side we go. That's what we go racing at the Sachsenring for, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Well done, John Wright and Derek Fitzgerald and Dale Atkins. Have a look at that.
Yeah, Dale really needed to get that move done and closed off at the exit of turn 3 before he got the 4 there. Because once he was on the outside for 4 and 5, he's there for half a lap because it's just a full 360 of a left-hander, so he wasn't going to get anywhere from there.
Oh, I think Dale might be having a little bit of struggle with the understeer in the NSX as well. I know he was mentioning it was a little bit understeery on out of the block, so he could be struggling with that.
But the onboard there did sound. There's a weird sound that Acura. It's got a bit of an asthmatic sort of wheezy sound to it.
No, it's probably a K-type engine.
So Dave Oliver has taken the lead of the pitters with 4 seconds more fuel on board than Woodsy. So Woodsy surprisingly is one of the lowest fueled cars here, so he thinks he's good for fuel. So he's going full risk with the pit stop. So we'll see if that pays off for Woodsy.
We're also unsure if it is actually Paul Wood in the car. with the times he was punching out in
Yeah,
practice
well, he
and qualifying.
qualified on pole. That isn't Paul Wood.
No, we know. We think it's Paul Wood on Discord, but it may not be Paul in the seat. So we're yet to
Okay.
determine if that's actually him.
All right. So, what do you know about this, Adam Lavis?
Well, he's got his suit and helmet on, but the visor's very dark, so you can't really see properly.
So do we reckon there's some conspiracy going on here, do we? I'm just trying to think who of the Aussie Racers stable might be available tonight that might not be around, that might have been able to throw their hat into the ring anonymously. There's a few names that come to mind.
I reckon Dan Saar, maybe.
Wait, where's Trent tonight, Adam?
No, he's recovering from. He's still
Yeah.
he's celebrating after the whooping everyone in the Hot Hatch Cup.
Very good. Excellent.
We told him to go out there and don't beat him too hard, because last time he raced it, they gave him too much penalty weight, and he goes and wins all but one race.
Cheney, Wright, Wilkinson, Jeffries and Bradbury, the top five here. And we have got 6 laps to go when Daniel Cheney crosses the line, but surely these guys can't be too far away from pit lane. 26 minutes into the race, and they go on again. So lap 21. So anyone that stopped lap 5, you're good. So Neil de Bruin's good. That's why he had to get to lap 5 with that damaged car.
Yeah, it was clear with these long apex corners, a lot of throttle modulation around here. It's a very low fuel burn track. A lot of not much 100% throttle around here. So that's probably what we're seeing. Like, because let's be honest, 6 seconds of fuel, that's barely 2 or 3 laps worth of fuel. So they obviously don't need too much to get to the end. So we should see these guys in a couple of laps.
I think we were burning about 2 to 2.2 litres a lap, and that was if you were clear in front. You'd be a little bit less if you had somebody in front of you. But I think sitting on the grid, it said I think I had about 21 and a bit laps worth of fuel in the Porsche.
Speaking of Porsches.
Yeah, Andrew was having fun, not so much.
Yes.
He even had concrete to slow it down. Well, looks like I'm going to Porsche tomorrow and asking for some more spare parts.
Correct. Let me know how you get on with that proposal as well.
Dale jumping out of the way there of Woodsy. Take the off track and just get out of the way of the leaders. Probably the easiest way to do it around here.
Final stages income Cheney, Wright and Wilkinson.
Well, I'm going to leave you boys to call the last few laps, and I'll see you on track in the next few days.
Looking forward to it immensely. Great, thank you.
There's a reason that Hiss has got the fast lap. He took all 4 tyres. So he's done a 21-second stop, and other guys are doing 6 and 10-second stops.
That'll do it. Every day of the week. There he is, the one and the only. Greg Heaney, good to catch up with him. Derek Fitzgerald to pit lane. Bradbury, Cheney, Wright, Wilkinson, Oliver, Wood and Atkins, the top 7. Fitzgerald yet to come back out onto the racetrack. Sharp, Benici, Jeffries on, Akers 1:18.506. He's already given himself an invoice, hasn't he, by taking the 4 tyres there in the 21-second stop. There's evidence of that, but it's been a good recovery all the same. It won't amount to anything more than about 13th, but when it's already a foregone conclusion, and it's a result gone begging, why not run caution to win, try and get that extra bonus point for the fastest lap, just to deny anyone else from having it more than anything else, quite frankly, because really, when you look at John's season, where is he? 11th. He hasn't got a drop round to fall back on. He's got a -2 and a 0. So, he's probably inheriting whatever points Hawley picks up here tonight anyway. So may as well take that bonus point and run with it. 4 to go. This time by the line. Brett Bradbury set to stop. He does now. That cleanses the field. Dale Atkins, who is still running 7th at the moment. Dale Sharp, Sean Benici. Sharpie under pressure from Benici. That's the battle we've picked up. Aussie Racers versus Whiskey Business. The stable led by Nick Fodiatis and Adam Lavis and Paul Wood and all those guys that we were just talking about. and the stable led by Greg Heaney. Up onto the main straight. Sharp can continue to keep Benici at bay here. Mercedes versus McLaren. Actually, I would have liked to have seen a bit of Mercedes versus bloody McLaren yesterday, Adam. What the bloody hell's going on in Formula 1, please?
I watched it last night because I had a family dinner last night, so I watched it late. And but watched the grid part, and then I skipped through the ad in the intro, and I'm like, hang on, what do you mean someone's gone through?
What's going on here?
How is someone going through a pedestrian spot? Where is he? Now they go back and find out what happened. Still don't even know what happened because that's no real information.
No.
Just electronic reference.
Yeah, just ridiculous, isn't it? Enjoying listening to the sweet sound of the McLaren at work. And up onto the main straight come. John Wright and Jason Wilkinson. The battle for second is alive.
Yeah, we've got a couple of 2x2s here.
Ooh, Oliver and Wood. Why not? These guys are fighting over second in the championship as well. It was only 4 points in favour of Woodsy coming into tonight. If it is actually Woodsy, you know, in the car. Greg Heaney's already thrown that little bit of controversy into the mix, hasn't he? Oh.
Paul the stick.
Yeah. Can we just acknowledge the fact that it might actually be a circuit that agrees with Woodsy for once? Yeah.
He's had a couple of good races this week. He's been up and down. He's had a couple of good races with the Mercs in the two classes, the GT classes he's running, and there's a couple of shockers as well. So, but I think it all depends how he gets in the sim of the night, and whether he gets set up the gels with him for the night. So. Looks like tonight he's had one that's come good and got himself a win. And a top 5 result here by the look of it for 3 laps to go. So I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with that if he comes in for a chat. Another 2x2 battle.
Three laps to go.
So we got three two-way battles going on at the moment.
We do. It's great to see. No Andrew Neal, no Bobby Camo, no Greg Heaney. They're all parked up and done. Warren Ibe, the last of the runners at the moment, about to go a lap down actually. In fact, might have just done so on Daniel Cheney.
Ooh.
So Alan McDonald sits there. About to go a lap down. Here's Benici and Sharp. Benici down the inside of Sharp to turn 1. That's for position number 6, and Benici goes through. Sharp yield and lets him go.
Yeah, Dale was a little bit too polite there, so he's lost himself a spot and see if he can get it back.
I agree with that comment from Wolfbane, actually. I absolutely wholeheartedly agree that great track for motorcycle racing, great track for Moto3, Moto2. I reckon it'd be a blast around here in Formula V. In fact, I think we've had Formula V racing here in the past, but it is one of those circuits you either really like it or you really loathe it. There's no in between. And it's one of those circuits that can either throw up a really good race or a real stinker. Thankfully tonight, because we've had sprint racing and inverts and pit stops, we've had 2 pretty good races, pretty decent races. But that time we had a 60-minute race here was a real drag. White flag in the air, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go one more time around. This is the battle for those that are up down at the moment. Warren Ibe and Alan McDonald. Look who are coming. John Wright and Jason Wilkinson. So they're going to have to cede position in a moment. They'll be seeing white flags for the last lap and blue flags for the fact that they're about to go a lap down on the guys that are fighting over second and third.
It's definitely, it's no doubt any Formula car around here is a blast. I think the new Porsche Cup car might actually be alright. The old one, the racing was good, but driving it felt annoying because it was just under the city. But the new one with its new handling model might actually be a bit alright. So it'd be interesting if we get to have a chance to come here in the new updated car and see if it's any better. But you grab yourself some, put some wings and slicks in your car, and all of a sudden this track comes alive.
No! That was, of course, 19th place. Alan McDonald putting 2 wheels in the dirt. That's Paul Wood. And he's managed to get his way. Oh, no, he's lost out. Woodsy has lost out. Woodsy and Oliver. The runners come undone for the Stig. Have a look at that. Oh, no. Into the wall. Has to get it out of there. John Akers has got back to 11th. Derek Fitzgerald's off the road. It's all hell's broken loose on this final lap. Daniel Cheney's been magnificent, however, from 10th in race 1. He gets John Akers caught up in that garbage, so he has gone to 11th, but there might be a bit of a asterisk hovering over his head. Daniel Cheney was magnificent in race 2, led every lap, didn't look back, wasn't challenged, converted 10th into pole position after finishing 10th race 1, given the invert pole, and embraced that, accepted that invitation with open arms, and converts into a very comfortable race win. John Wright in for second, held off Wilkinson. Oliver's going to be a comfortable fourth. That's a big blow to Paul Wood and his aspirations for second of the championship. Benici, Wood, Sharp, Jeffries, Ong, Bradbury and Gallacher, with Fitzgerald just holding off Akers here on the run to the line. It's been a shocker for Akers, really. Back to 13th in the end. He was 11th at one point coming home on that final lap. And obviously the late race incident has meant that he's fallen back to 13th. Neil de Bruin, good recovery to 14th. Sam Woodhouse gets by Dale Atkins on the run to the line for 15th. Keeps him at the post. Atkins can't actually get home, I don't think. I think Atkins is struggling to limp to the line. Yeah, he's gone into pit lane. Atkins has gone to pit lane. Has he run out of juice? That's what I want to know. And Liam Hagan, therefore, comes through and takes 16th away. Has Atkins run out of juice? Yes, he goes across the line now. Warren Ibert comes across the line a lap down, and Alan McDonald a lap down as well. And Dale Atkins, unfortunately, oh, that'll be a night I'll be happy to forget.
He's also got a black flag as well next to his name, unfortunately.
Yeah, because he's entered the pit lane on the final lap, I think you'll find. Can we have a look at that?
I think it might be incident points, because he had an accident on the last lap.
Yep. And he's tried to come into pit lane to serve it, and obviously that won't fly because it is the last lap. Oh, and he got a turnaround on the way to the start-finish line as well. Brett Bradbury being in the McLaren, I was just happy to start the race. Yeah, exactly. It really is ridiculous, isn't it, at the moment? Let's bring in Eli Donaldson, because he's first cab off the rank, waiting in our broadcast waiting room for us. He's now joined us in the booth. We'll get to him in just a moment. Has he or has he not put one hand on the title in GT3 Pro tonight? We'll have a look at that for you in just a moment. We'll wait for our Pro-Am drivers to join us as well. Just about to go 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time for you, ladies and gentlemen, which is 7 o'clock on the West Coast and midnight on a Tuesday morning in New Zealand. Great to have you along wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world, across the Facebook page and the YouTube channel, the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. And that was Daniel Cheney, clinical in the end, 1.82 seconds ahead of John Wright, then Jason Wilkinson. Good fight back from Wilkinson, but Wright was clinical. That keeps his championship lead intact going into the final round, Road America next week. Dave Oliver, Sean Benici, Paul Wood, Dale Sharp, Dale Jeffries, William Ong, then Brett Bradbury, the top 10. Really good stuff. Righto, Eli. Good evening to you. We'll have the pro split results with you in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, but you might give us some intel before they come up on the screen, mate, as to how it all played out for you. Penultimate round, Sachsenring. You had the championship. You had one hand on it going into the night, second on the grid there to Paul Rogers, but really the absence of Ryan Jones on the grid, and also the fact that you're able to clear Alexander Barrel on, that's given you a tremendous leg up going into next week, I would imagine.
Yeah, I was patiently waiting for Jonesy to show up tonight, and I was talking to him this afternoon, and it seems like I have misread my messages, and he said he was on his way to Winton, so that just relinquished all the pressure I had going into tonight, because I was already worried that I was going to be nowhere because of Bathurst OSR this weekend. So pace was, I think I did maybe 5 laps or 5 to 10 laps in a test session, and then 15 laps in practice, and pace was okay. But like I said, I think I pretty much had one hand on it. I've been playing it off all season, and I just needed to get through tonight and finish and just put some points on the board. And I think we might be able to go into Road America with relinquish. I can just sit back and relax.
I could think of better places to go than that part of the world. Poor Jonesy, I don't envy him in the slightest, and I meant every word of it. Bad luck to him. I actually thought he was going. I would have happily taken Phillip Island over the other place. every day of the week if I was Jonesy. I would have thought that he'd be down there for the GT4 media day, but he's obviously at the other for something else. Bad luck to him. And he's been a busy boy over the weekend with that OSR 12 hour that you mentioned as well. Might get your thoughts on that if time permits, mate. Dave Oliver's here, Paul Rogers as well. Sorry, Adam, I didn't even get to the race 1 and race 2 results there, so let's do that. From Paul Rogers' poll in qualifying, let's have a look at race 1. Eli Donaldson draws first blood for the night and to the tune of 2.91 seconds, 981 seconds, I should say, on Luke Page. Good fight back from Page. Vinnie Nguyen, Alan Dawson, Alex Barrelon, Nick Wood, Jeff Adams, Rodney Gollan, Paul Rogers and Rob Hill. Am I of the belief there that there was a very poor depleted turnout of this field? Yeah, only 10? Is that right, Adam?
Correct, there was only 10 people.
10, wow. Rob Hill in 10th again, so we couldn't take a trick tonight. Paul Rogers got one back on Eli in the second race, but Eli should get the round points unless Luke Page has pipped them both. With 2 seconds, that might trump it. 12.7 the margin. Donaldson in for third, so a double podium for Eli. Good result yet again. Alan Dawson, Vinnie Nguyen, Nick Wood, Jeff Adams, Alex Barrelon and Rodney Gollan made up the finishes. What is it about this circuit, Eli? Sorry, Adam, go for it.
I say, and also just while we're getting the results of the race, this is the feature race for the AM.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Feature race results from the AM split. So Nathan Harvey's gone out there and undone the wrongs of race 1 by getting the job done in race 2 ahead of Martin Davis. So good night for Davis, double podium. JD Dent, Martin Pedersen and Jesse McMenamin. So again, all top 5 contenders in the championship in that top 5 or thereabouts. Shocker for Tristan Koch and Tim Watson down 9th and 10th. Good recovery from Braden O'Loughlin after being 11th in the first race. Anthony Cuthbertson fell down the order and Edward Rollo was in 8th. All right, mate, I'll let you crunch the numbers. I'll have a chat to these 4. Jason Wilkinson's joined us for a chat as well. It'd be nice to hear from him after second in that feature race as well. Ryan Jones. Big boy on the couch, handing out championships left and right. Exactly, Jonesy. Exactly. How rude of real-life commitments to get in the way of your sim championship aspirations. Good luck in the Pro Series on Wednesday, mate. Oh, my goodness gracious me. That poor bloke. Dave Oliver will admire and appreciate just how much I had to bite my tongue when the other Victorian racing venue was mentioned by Eli there a few moments ago. Let's go and have a chat with Eli. What is it about this circuit? I mean, we had a decent field in Pro-Am with 22. We had 13 in Am and 10 in Pro. Was it a case of fatigue from the 12-hour OSR weekend? Was it the fact that no one bloody well likes the Sachsenring? Was it like Jonesy, people have got real-world obligations to attend to, or a combination of all of the above?
Probably more 2 and 3 than 1. It's hard. Like Mazzano, I guess Mazzano's a lot wider, so it's less of a motorbike track, but more commonly these days we see it for MotoGP and all that. But Sachsenring, I don't know if I've ever seen a GT3 race around here. So very narrow, track limits were very tight. So I think that with the technicality of it, you got to be off throttle a lot, let the car rotate, get back on throttle. Probably if you did probably 1,000 laps, you still would have struggled. So I'd say track technicality was one of the deciding factors tonight.
Bit of breaking news coming in as well from the world of Australian media tonight too, ladies and gentlemen, which I'll get to at the end of this broadcast if time permits. Eli, just on the OSR 12-hour, big weekend for your guys. How did it all go from your standpoint, please?
Not too bad. Qualified 10th in a wet qualifying. Had a bit of a... Jonesy tried to kill me on lap 1 by spinning turn 2, so good to see that Jonesy and I, a whole nother series, 12 hours, and we still tried to take each other out.
He spent more time in the commentary box because of that.
Yeah, so I missed him luckily, and it sort of relieved all the pressure. And then threw a good old left-right good night when the rain came and predicted it somehow, and rained as the safety car was finishing, so I did all my wet changes then, so led some laps, made some mistakes in the rain, and then unfortunately with an hour to go got killed at the elbow. Bit of a nothing move, so disappointing. Didn't finish it because of it, but I mean, overall positive. Pace was there. Car was really strong, good setup, and we'll have to tackle it again next year and see if we can do better than we did this year.
Let's turn our attention back to tonight, mate. That couldn't have gone much better for you. I mean, obviously, a first and a third when you've got to weave your way through in an invert situation like that. We've seen it go belly up for so many people in the past in that situation, but really, you've ticked the box. Second on points for the round, by the looks of the numbers preliminarily coming through at the moment from Adam Lavis. But all that'll mean is one hand already potentially on the title for you going in to next week. What have you got to do between now and when we get to Road America to put yourself in the best, possible position, mentally, preparedly, to go out there and just do what you need to do to tick the box and get the job done next Monday night, please?
I'll do a little bit of practice for it. But yeah, I guess, like you said, with Jonesy not showing up tonight, I think it's made it very hard for me to lose next week. So it'll be, don't get me wrong, it'll be nice to finish the year or the season on a win, but at the end of the day, I'm ultimately going out there just to finish the race and enjoy myself one more time, and all the pressure's relieved and don't have to worry about what result I need to do to win it.
Porsche served you well so far this season, mate. Any reason to go and dabble in something else for Term 2 at this stage, or are you thinking you'll stay with the Porsche when we get around to the start of the new season after Easter?
Depends on calendar also. Depends on calendar, what comes out strongest. I would like to stay with the Porsche because I clearly gelled quite well with it, and I try to stay with it, but ultimately comes down to what tracks we get in next season's next season in general. I think we've got Nürburgring 24 will be up next season. We got Sebring probably next season as well. So we've got a few big tracks, so it may change the choice, but we'll see what happens. Indeed.
Our race winner from the Pro-Am feature is jumping into the box to say hello to us as well, so we'll get to Daniel Cheney very shortly. But whilst we've got you, Eli, I was going to say, well done on doing what you were able to do before, obviously getting caught up in that garbage at the very end of the 12-hour. I enjoyed the parts of it that I did get to watch. I was obviously, one eye on this, one eye on Formula One, etc., etc. But no, chaotic day. Everybody that contested it did very, very well to get through it and survive as best they did there. Angry Dutchman, my back hurts. Pro race was fun. Some interesting comments coming in here. Let's throw it forward. What's the rest of this week look like for you and the team stable, mate? I mean, it's a big week in the sim racing world. OSR 12-hour, Logitech V8 Pro opener. Obviously, everything we've got going on here, and then grand final week. It's a big, very busy fortnight to end the term.
Yeah, we'll have obviously a few of the Vermilion cars in the V8 Pro series, so we'll see. I think we've got 5 or 6 entries in there this season, or this season. Chapo, you know what Chapo's like. He'll dabble in anything he can get his toes wet into.
That's it.
So he'll be in and around. I might dabble in GT3 on Friday night because I enjoyed that at Montreal before my computer decided to brick itself. Yep. Other than that, I think we've got first NLS for iRacings on Saturday night, so I'll try and do that as well. Try and compete a whole season in that on the official iRacing calendar. But other than that, not much. Keep it pretty quiet, relax, wind down after a busy weekend with OSR.
On that subject, I'm not going to hold you up too long tonight. I know it's been a busy weekend, busy couple of days. Tight turnaround in terms of being ready for Bathurst yesterday and then getting ready for the Sachsenring tonight, mate. You've ticked the boxes. You've done what's required to put yourself in the best possible position going into next week. And, it looks now almost like only an unforeseen disaster that denies you the title next Monday night. So well done on all of that. As the champion-elect, we'll give you this opportunity to thank whoever you want to thank before we let you go.
I want to thank all the guys at Vermilion and even some of the guys at Entropy, Nick Wood, Daniel Piper, and there's some guys behind the scenes in the Entropy stable that don't show themselves but are always good. Then we got Homo setups just for all the setups that we get from them. It's all good. And have a great evening, everyone. And I'll no doubt be speaking to you Monday, Zach.
Absolutely. When we make it official as Eli Donaldson, Term 1 GT3 champion in the pro split on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, with thanks to Waste Options. And I'm reading that right, surely, Adam Lavis. It looks like now that Eli can't be beaten. He's just got to come out and tick the box next week, essentially.
I've been punching numbers. I haven't looked at the numbers yet, so I can't go into it yet.
All right, copy that.
Once we get to the point of revealing it, I'll let you know.
All right, copy that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm trying to make sense of it on the fly here to give Eli a bit of confidence or put his mind at ease, one or the other. But, yeah, stick around if you want to have a look at that when it's revealed in a few months' time, Eli. In the meantime, I did see the message from John Harris. Apparently, Paul Rogers has got an early start tomorrow. He's got an early bedtime, so we can't keep him up. We need to have a chat, and we need to say well done, because that was a good result in qualifying, particularly, mate, and also the feature race. Your thoughts on the night that was at the Sachsenring?
Yeah, cheers. I think the track really suited the BMW, and I obviously still had the job to do, but qualifying really showed that the BMW had a bit of punch, which was nice for a change. I didn't even see the release notes to see if anything changed, but yeah, she was planted. Seemed to hold the high speed corners a lot better than the guys behind me, but maybe that was just the aero wash. But yeah, disappointed with the first race. I felt like I had Eli at bay, and then for some reason, the first time it's ever happened, the computer decided to alt-tab out of the game, and I had a black screen. So thankfully I didn't take anyone with me, but I managed to get it under control and finish the race to get me back on the front row to try and salvage something in the feature. And yeah, got to the front in the feature early on, got hustled by the Mustang for a while there, and then yeah, it was pretty home and hosed, which was nice.
You mentioned the BMW being the car to have around here. There's a lot of people that would probably look at the rest of the season and maybe say that wasn't necessarily the case, but it's nice to have your moment in the spotlight when the opportunity presents itself, irrespective of how depleted the grid was tonight. We've already mentioned the details as to why that was the case with Eli, but I come back to what I always say, mate, and that is, at the end of the day, no matter how many cars are on the grid, we go for quality over quantity on these platforms at times, and you've still got to be in it to win it, and you did that tonight.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, I always say you can only beat those that turn up. So yeah, it was a good night, and yeah, took advantage of it. If it was the one track we got where the BMW was slightly better than the Porsche, well, I think it was a lot better, especially in light fueling qualifying trim. So yep, got the job done tonight.
I think Dave Oliver will firmly agree with the sentiments on that as well when we talk to him in a few moments in time. And we've also got Daniel Cheney coming up and Jason Wilkinson as well. We'll go to those two first and then to Dave, because we know Dave doesn't mind sticking around a little bit later in the evening. But talk us through the rest of it, mate. I mean, interesting season, Porsche dominant. What steered you towards the BMW from the outset, if you don't mind me asking?
It's about the only car I have left that I've actually purchased, so I just jumped in it, and I thought I'll stick with it just as I build myself back up and get comfortable with things again, and then I'll start getting a bit more serious about what I might race next season or whatever we do. So I think now I'm comfortably doing some laps. I've shown a little bit of pace here and there. I was good in the wet earlier in the year, so I think now we can start exploring something with cars and work out what we do for next season.
On the subject of that, let me hold that thought and come back to it with you in a moment. I just want to rattle off some information for everybody at home. Let's look at your season, right? Didn't start the first two rounds and had a DNF in round 6, right? I am reading that right. DNF in round 6. So round 3, 9th and 4th. Round 4, 11th. Round 5, 7th and 6th. Round 7, 20th and 8th. Round 8, 10th, and finally this week, well, 9th in race 1, but you went out there and got the monkey off your back and finally got a podium and a win at that in race 2. So persistence pays off.
Yeah, I've been reasonably consistent. I was super disappointed with the DNF at Bathurst, but yeah, the rain caught me out, or the puddles at the top of Skyline caught me out, and I just hadn't done enough practice, and yeah, binned it there. So I was pretty disappointed with myself. But yeah, given with the time that I put in, which is not much, I think I'm punching above my weight a little bit. How much is in the car, I don't really know. You look at the officials, and you know the BMW does pop up every now and then. So you know the BMW can do it, but I certainly don't put the time in. I just run the fixed setup every week and just try and maximise that, unless it's absolutely horrendous like it was at where were we? Monza. Was it the Monza? Yeah, the really
Monza
long.
combined? Yeah, yeah.
It was horrendous around there. So yeah, overall it's been a pretty good season so far, and I look forward to Road America too. It's a good track.
That'll be an absolutely terrific way to finish the season. I mean, obviously the big point of difference there is we've had 60 minutes worth of sprint racing tonight, so 21 and 37. Not quite 60 minutes worth of racing in there. We gifted iRacing a little bit of time back tonight, but the point is valid. Next week, 90 minutes holeless bolus out and out enduro, 2 compulsory pit stops, etc., you know the drill. How do you go in preparing for that after doing sprint racing this week, 60 minutes the week before? How do you go about preparing yourself for that longer haul?
I prefer the longer haul stints. I settle in and get into a rhythm and go and seem to just naturally progress throughout the stint. But I don't think I'll be on until next Monday night, so I will have 0 practice until next week. So
how does that compromise your lead in, by the way? And are you someone that can handle the pressure of just arriving and driving, so to speak?
Yeah, just turn up and race. There's no pressure. So I've got real life commitments on the weekend for racing, so I'm focused on that at the moment. And it'll be Monday night. It'll be like, what are we doing tonight? Oh, Road America. There we go. Let's go do that. and whatever happens. You know, if I run top 10, I run top 10. If I crash and DNF, well, it's probably my own fault for not putting the time in. So yeah, that's all it is. It's a good fun thing to do.
Bit hard to put the time in when you're occupied elsewhere. Gone are the days where we can hope and dream of science getting us to a point where we can be actually physically in 2 places at once, mate.
Yeah, and I've got 2 kids under 5 as well. So
that's it. That won't help.
After 8 o'clock at night, it's all good. But
Yeah,
but weekends and all that stuff, I would have loved to have done the 12-hour and a lot of the enduro stuff, because I think that's where iRacing's at its peak, is the endurance racing. But I just can't commit the time to it.
Fair enough, mate. Great to catch up with you. Thank you for that. Well done. And good to have you stop by in the booth. Last one before I let you go, because I know, again, whether Johnny was onto something or not. With 2 under 5, I don't imagine you need a morning alarm in your place. I'm sure they would service the alarm for you. Let me ask you this. We mentioned term 2. You're talking about giving it a serious crack then. So what does that entail? How much time will you allocate to spend, you know, exploring, having a dabble in the other race cars, maybe purchasing a new 1 or 2 for the garage, and then working out what you run with for the next campaign?
Given what we've just discussed, it'll probably be talking to a few of the other guys and saying, hey, what's good, and then just jumping in that and going. There probably won't be too much to it than that. So yeah, we'll just see what happens going forward. I think I'll keep the consistency and try and do GT3 and Porsches next season at GSRC again. I quite enjoy the Porsche Cup, that is. So we'll see how that goes going forward too.
Mate, very nicely done. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, thank the boss man, Johnny. He's looking out for me tonight. Thank you, sir. So yeah, thanks to Johnny and 75 Sim Sports. So yeah, cheers.
Thanks for stopping on by, mate. We appreciate the chat. Dangerous game to play when you're, you know, throwing the feelers out and trusting the judgment of others. Doesn't always work, but hopefully no one leads you astray in this instance, mate. Go well. Enjoy the rest of the week. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I don't get that very often. I usually just get Zach or words that can't be repeated on air. I appreciate that. I want to ask Jason Wilkinson about his long lap penalty in a moment, but not before We just saw it on replay. Not before we have a chat to the race 2 winner in the Pro-Am split. Hello, Daniel Cheney. You'll need to unmute yourself, though, mate, if you're still there. There he is.
Hey, all. Hey, Zach.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Good. What's doing?
Absolutely. Good to catch up with you, mate. Well done. A great result. And obviously the other noted point of interest here, mate, is exciting times in the Orbit Drop Bear stable because you're running the All Black livery tonight. Exciting team reveal coming up there tomorrow. But how much are you enjoying being a part of the Orbit Drop Bear stable, please?
They're a great bunch of blokes. Really good. They all work really hard on making sure they, these big races, they put in a lot of effort. So I unfortunately can't put as much effort as they do due to work and stuff, but I see what they do and they really put in the effort and they deserve it. What they've been achieving this year in the different categories and series, they deserve it. So yeah.
We mentioned time and commitments and other thing, and again, probably very similar to Paul's predicament, mate. Real world commitments sometimes compromise your ability to go and have as much fun as you'd like to in the sim world.
Pretty much, yeah. I've got a lot of stuff at work going on at the moment in the last few months, so it's just been it's been hard to sort of say, guys, I'll put my hand in much as anything because it turns out I'll have to be working on the weekend, and it's just hard to say, yeah, I'll be there 100%. So it's just been a bit of a frustrating time for me. But I hope the guys understand. Yeah,
I'm sure they do, and I'm sure you're not an isolated situation for them either, quite frankly. But it says a lot because we know how serious a caper this is for so many of the big teams, mate, that they're so open to working around you and accommodating those commitments and circumstances, because at the end of the day, really, this is leisure. Your real work, your real world commitments, without that, you don't pay the bills to have the roof over your head to do this in the first place.
That's it. Yeah. No, it's good fun race though. Good fun race.
Yeah. Let's talk about it because really, I want to hear more from you with regards to race 1, quite frankly, because you finished that one in 10th. And then the second race, you lead it from the front. We barely check in with you because you just, bolt off into the sunset. I was going to say something else, but I can't say it because we've got the Western audience. We're not yet in the M-rated threshold of their evening, mate. But really, you just bolted.
Well, I was lucky. I think there was an incident behind me on the first lap or the second.
There was.
And so I sort of got a break from that. But I think it was I had to really concentrate this one to keep it clean because it was the first race. Well, the first race was basically I screwed up on the qualifying and crashed it, and so basically cold tyres I couldn't get to what I probably would have gotten, and so the first race was me stuck behind the other cars. It was just really hard to pass, but then the second race was clear track, and I managed to just to keep that gap, break the gap and then keep it, and so that was pretty much my goal. And then towards the end my tyres were really going off, so I was holding up the back markers, which was a bit embarrassing, but still managed to get to the end. That's the main thing.
Well, that's exactly right. You went out there, you ticked the box, you got the job done, you did what was required to get the W, and that's all that really matters in the grand scheme of things, mate. People probably won't, because it wasn't, the most memorable finish we've ever seen in terms of the battle for the win and whatever else. People won't necessarily remember the circumstances, but they'll look at the result sheet and say your name's at the top of the sheet. So that's all that matters. Your thoughts on the Sachsenring as a circuit, because there's been some mixed views on that, as you may have already heard.
I kind of like it in the sense of, from a driving perspective, it's good. Passing's a bit hard. I will say that was probably my bugbear for this. That was passing was. You could probably do it if you dive, but you would be very compromised on the way out. So yeah, it's a very what's the word? It's a flowing circuit. That's what I like about it from a lapping perspective. But from a racing perspective, it's probably a bit harder to pass. If that was the complaint, I'd probably agree with that.
Well, that's fair. I mean, from our standpoint, we knew that it was going to be much more lively as a sprint race round rather than a 60-minute enduro. That probably just would have been a bridge too far in terms of the entertainment factor. Where are the goalposts with regards to next week, mate? I mean, let's have a chat about Road America. If your schedule is going to allow you to line up on the grid here, and how you feel about 90 minutes around Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
Road America is one of my top 3 circuits, so it's hopefully, it'll be a good race. This season's sort of been a bit stop-start, so yeah, it's been, I have moments of greatness and then moments of absolute disaster, so at least to get a win is good. So yeah, for next week I want to continue it and make that happen, at one of my better tracks. I've got a lot of experience at it, so yeah, just hopefully it all comes together and I'll speak to you again.
You might be lucky enough too, yeah, absolutely. 33rd, 30th, 23rd, 21st. The season only went up after the first 3 rounds. You took the 4th week off. That seemed to do the trick. 7th and 3rd in week 5. Unfortunately, the DNF at Mount Panorama, that really stings because that was an enduro round. I'm just having a look because the sheet has just changed on me. Thank you, Adam Lavis. 26th and 18th. We'll forget about the Nürburgring. You missed last week. So, yeah, it hasn't been necessarily a season to write home about, but it is finishing on a strong note, mate, with the 10th and the 1st tonight. What's a pass mark next week when we get to Road America?
Why not number 1?
That's it. Pick up exactly where you left off tonight. I like it. I like the enthusiasm and the confidence in which you say it. What else might you get a chance to have a dabble in this week if circumstances allow you to?
At this point, probably not a lot. Yeah. I think I get 2 or 3 hours a week for this, and this is it. Maybe a couple of hours on Sunday to learn the track, especially after, because it's a brand new track. I've never done this before.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh, well, not bad for a first time then.
Yeah, this is my first GT3 win, so I had to.
Exactly. And obviously you've just verified that. I was going to say first win of the season, but first win outright, you say?
Yep.
First win holeless bowler. Yeah, excellent. So how do we celebrate that?
Well, I've got my red wine right here, mate.
Joel and Hanson, I think I need to mount an extra monitor to leave the GSR stream up on a week. Now, Joel, we've been saying this for years, mate. Get your sports bar set up happening, mate. We say it all the time. 3 screens, 4 screens sometimes are not enough, especially when you get to a Thursday night. You need the AFL on one screen, the NRL on another, and us on a third. You need multiple screens to get your sports bar set up. And as Daniel said, beer, wine and spirits, unless you're driving, of course. We wouldn't encourage that, no matter how many spicy colas we used to have on a Friday night back in the day. We're a little bit more serious than what we were in the early days of the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. Daniel, you've been very good with your time, mate. Appreciate you hanging around for that. Well done. Milestone achievement box tick for you. Good luck with next week at Road America. As you say, maybe we're chatting again. Hopefully so. And then you get 2 weeks off, and will it be GT3 again the focus for term 2, or you might like to go and have a dabble in a Porsche or a GT4, something different to challenge yourself?
Probably stick with GT3. That's what I've been, good at. If I try to do open wheelers, I lose. You just muck yourself up. So yeah. I'll probably just stick to what you know.
Yep, stick to what you know, stick to what's working, stick to what you're enjoying. Otherwise, at the end of the day, we all do this for fun, and the fun factor soon diminishes if you're not enjoying it. So, no, I like the formula. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Go well, mate. Anyone you want to thank?
Just the guys at Orbit Drop there. We're a great team, and we're all looking forward to showing you what our new exciting thing is happening tomorrow.
Oh, cannot wait for that. 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow night is when they're revealing that, ladies and gentlemen. That's 9 o'clock in New Zealand, 4 o'clock on the West Coast, and everybody else in between can do their own maths for themselves. Daniel, thank you.
All right, thanks, Zach. Take care.
Will do. Jason Wilkinson, to you. What was going on with that MotoGP long lap penalty work that you were doing there earlier, please?
Yeah, unfortunately, wasn't quite so comfortable in the first race. I think I was just overdriving it a little bit in the lead up to that corner at the bottom of the hill there, but it was good learnings for the second race, so I'll take it.
Very nicely done. Great result on the second race, mate. I mean, Adam's still crunching the numbers at the moment. You've come home with a third. 6th in the first race. Your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, very happy to get the third place in the second race. I think it's my first podium, so in a race result in the GT3 Pro-Am, so that's why it's only my first time speaking to yourself, Zach. But yeah, first race I was a little less comfortable. I think, like I say, I think overdriving it in a couple of places and then having the championship leader behind you within half a second put a bit of pressure on as well. But yeah, overall pretty happy with the night.
That's actually the really fascinating thing about tonight. You just made the point. You're the second first-timer in the booth post-race tonight, Daniel Cheney being the first. It's always nice to have new people stop in and say, g'day, we're a little bit tighter on who we let in and why we let them in these days. We used to let everybody in, and we used to be here till bloody midnight trying to wrap things up. So it is nice to see you in here, mate, and it's great to have Northwind as part of the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. Give us a little bit of insight, though, because I'm reading here, just give our audience an idea. Where in the world is Stanley? That's listed here as your hometown.
It's a small town in the northeast of England, in County Durham. But yeah, I've been in Perth now for about 2 years, so got no plans to go back at the minute, so I might be sticking around for a while.
Well, I was going to say, I wouldn't have known because the Pommy twang is still very there front and centre. It's distinct and noticeable, so I knew immediately I had to ask the question, mate. Perth, of course, a lovely part of the world. We love our friends over on the West Coast, and as I've said to our Queensland audience for 6 years now, at least over there, the time difference makes a lot more bloody sense. Let's have a chat about that, because Sachsenring wasn't everybody's cup of tea, mate. Hard to gel with this circuit for some. But at the end of the day, everybody's in the same boat, playing this with the same, battleship playing field, etc., etc. Make the best of a bad situation. Obviously, that Porsche wasn't always to your liking tonight, but you did enough to get through relatively unscathed.
Yeah, exactly. I'd never raced Sachsenring before. Bought the track at the back end of last week and done a couple of nights of practice, and got up to speed pretty quickly, which was a bit of a surprise. But generally, I don't really like these tracks where you can't overtake much, or the shorter tracks in general. I usually struggle at them, especially with all the drivers being so close. But yeah, I think luckily qualifying up front, it's made a big difference this season, especially for me in terms of race results. And I knew starting P4 would at least give me a chance to not get involved in incidents like some of the lads further back probably did. So yeah, I think that's the key, really. Try and qualify well on these types of tracks and hopefully stay out of trouble.
Indeed. Talk to me about the Northwind stable as a whole, mate. It's a name we've seen popping up more and more as the season's gone on. It's a growing stable. You guys are bagging some good results, in contention for a couple of our other championships. It's all well documented. But how much are you enjoying being part of the framework there?
Yeah, it's been very good. I think a lot of the reason I've sort of improved a lot more this season is been part of Northwind. It's a great set of lads. We all work pretty well together. We try and organise our practice times and commit a set amount of time to the race, and especially with us being involved in the GSRC leagues and some of the other lads doing other leagues. But yeah, we're working very well together, which is good. I think that's some of the best parts about it. We're, like you say, we're relatively new, hopefully making an impact. Yeah, that's what we want. We want to make a positive impact and a positive contribution to the GSRC, and yeah, hopefully we continue to do that.
And that's what we're all about at the end of the day. We're all here for the positive vibes. You mentioned this being a shorter circuit next week, much longer circuit, much faster circuit as well. How do you prepare for Road America and the 90 minutes around there, please?
Probably do plenty of practice this weekend, see how we go. I've just had a brief look at the standings there, so it's a bit of a long shot to try and get to P3 but in the standings, but yeah, we'll give it a good shot. I do like Road America as a circuit though. Generally the American circuits I go pretty well at, so
yeah, I think it'll be the same as this week. Try and qualify well, stay out of trouble at the start, and hopefully a bit of strategy comes into play during the race.
You mentioned those championship standings. There they are. John Wright's got a hand on it, ladies and gentlemen, because, and I'm sure Adam Lavis can explain it for us, even if next Monday night goes pear-shaped for him, he's got 44 points coming back his way. So if he finishes, or doesn't finish rather, DNF, DNR, DSQ, whatever, he'll get 44 points irrespective of what happens next Monday night.
Yeah, so he's effectively currently 105 points ahead if you count his drop round. And the maximum you can get in the round is 100. So he's got one hand and another 4 fingers on it. The only thing that could happen is if Woodsy does get the perfect round and somehow John gets a DNF and a points penalty. That's a very, very unlikely situation, but that's like the mathematical possibility of him not getting it. He's basically 99% there.
And that's why he's just jumped into the booth to have a chat to us as well, which we're looking forward to in a moment. So it is a bit of a long shot, but Jason, top 5 and, you know, first term campaign for 2026, nothing to turn your nose up at, mate. I would guess no doubt fuels the fire in the belly to come back and give it another crack in term 2. And when we get to term 2, will you stay with the Porsche or go and have a play in something else?
Yeah, I think I will stay with it. I think it's been, I've definitely enjoyed driving it. I've driven a couple of the GT3s and the GSRC since I joined, and haven't felt as comfortable as I felt in this. So, yeah, I think it's going to be the way forward for now.
All right, very nicely done. What else is on the racing stable or racing table, agenda, calendar, schedule, all those different words? Bloody hell, I'm having trouble with them tonight, aren't I? And yet English is my first language. What else is on the agenda for you this week in the Northwind stable, mate? Where are we popping up? Where are we going racing?
Unfortunately, we're going to a wet Nürburgring in the Porsche Cup, so let's see how that goes. I think all the more reason to stick with the Porsche and GT3 because GT3s and Porsche Cups usually what I tend to race. So yeah, let's see how that goes.
All right, let's see how it goes indeed. Before I let you go, mate, because I've still got, as you see there, I've got to go to Dave Oliver, Paul Wood and John Wright yet. Who will we thanking on the way out, please?
Just a big thank you to all the lads at Northwind, all the sponsors. Like I said, it's my first time on broadcast, so a big thank you to yourself, Zach, and all the committee members at GSRC. It's a great club, really enjoying racing in it. And as well to all the lads in Pro-Am. I've been in Pro-Am since I joined the club, and there's a really good set of guys in there, very clean, fair racing. We have our bad moments, but for the most part it's very good. So no, thanks to them and thanks to yourself.
And thanks to you as well, mate. It's nice to get thanks occasionally. It's nice to know that people enjoy what we do, but we wouldn't be anywhere else. We're here because we enjoy it for the same reasons that you guys turn up and go racing every week. It's a great club. It's a privilege to be a part of, and we have been here for 6 years now, and you know all the ingredients are there to make it another 6, I'm sure. Thank you, mate. Go well. Hopefully, if all goes well at the Nürburgring, you Brits are usually right at home in the rain. If it all goes well at Nordschleife, we might chat again on Thursday.
But yeah, let's see. But yeah, thanks a lot, Zach.
Yes. There he is. Very nicely done. Jason Wilkinson, appreciate that. Now, John, I'm going to get to you in just a moment, mate, being the last of the late arrivals. And Dave Oliver's there. I know he's settled in for a while. But I need to, just because Greg Heaney threw the bait out earlier and said, we're not sure exactly who that is aboard the 98 Oz E-Racers Mercedes tonight. It says Paul Wood. It looks like Paul Wood, but we think he's hired the Stig for the night. We need to actually confirm that that was you out there, Paul Wood.
Yeah, unfortunately it was me.
What about that for a drive-by from Heaney? He drops into the broadcast booth, having retired himself, and he says, who's in Woodsy's car tonight? Who's driving it? Because they just couldn't believe that you were stringing such a good night together. Unfortunately, that all went tits up for you about 7 corners from home, unfortunately, on the final lap there, mate. But apart from that, a pretty solid hit out. Yep, long shot now to win the championship, but still firmly in the fight for second in that battle that'll go to Road America and all the way to the grand finale, to the checkered flag, I should say, the grand finale with Dave Oliver. What happened on the last lap, please?
Just trying to make a move, and it's a similar thing that happened last week in the or both in the BMW and UT, and this last lap I just seemed to lose the rear end, but it was the last one coming up the hill there, and I was trying to put as much pressure on old Dave as I could, and I did make one move earlier that sort of got me up beside his car, and I was going to try and do it again, but I backed out of the earlier or previous effort because his car got a twitch, and I thought, oh, this is not going to end well, but yeah, just a little too heavy, and I don't know whether I actually hit the inside curb, and it was just enough to unsettle the car, but once it went, that was it. It was all over Red Rover, so yeah, spun around, copped a little bit of damage in the rear end, but yeah, I just thought I'd bring it home from there. But yeah, it's what a track. Yeah.
Excuse me. The Sachsenring, not everybody's cup of tea, but you know, it's the same with every track we go to, mate. We go to Sebring and Road America next Monday night. There are people, including one of your close teammates, that absolutely detest Sebring. There's people that don't like Road America just because of circumstance. Not every track's going to please everybody, but the onus was on you guys that are still mathematically in some sort of championship contention to come out and make the most of the Sachsenring tonight, which you and Dave Oliver certainly did. And as you say, what a track.
Yeah, look, this is my first laps I did here today. I've never driven the track before coming in there, so I tried to learn it all and everything tonight. So the fact I got on pole, I was dumbfounded. Don't know actually how I did it. I just head down, bum up. But yeah, it's a really fun track to drive on. For racing though, especially these types of cars, I don't think it's the most common race track for that. You know, if someone was going to put a bulldozer there to get rid of it, I'll be first in line to drive it. But yeah, I would be happy if we didn't race there again. But like I said, as a test track for the car or for just general racing, once you get the groove, I think it's a fun little track. For smaller cars or higher downforce, it'd be a fun little track. But yeah, for these things, it was just, you feel like you're on tenterhooks and just walking the car around the whole time, a little bit too excited, and it was you're either off or spinning. So yeah, I'm glad to see this track in the rearview mirror.
Sean Benici just saying that if he didn't botch up his pit stop, and that's the problem, you know, if you don't know the 1%ers, and it's worse when you're cocking up yourself and you haven't been cocked up by somebody else. He could have actually improved his track position and all that. It wasn't to be. Good luck at Road America, mate, and obviously we'll see you on track later in the week, I'm sure. Woodsy, the interesting thing here is really, as Adam's already painted the picture, forget about John Wright, focus on Dave Oliver. How do you ensure that you retain second by the end of 90 minutes next week?
I just hope I can keep a cool head, don't let the pressure get to me, and try and get a decent result. So just basically do what I usually do, try and aim for consistency, and yeah, it's going to be real interesting. I had no delusions I was going to get the championship this one here, especially once Scott Brown's come in. I'm like, it was all over, done and dusted, so I'm just trying to hold on to whatever I can at this point. It's been a while since I've been on a podium in a series, so I'm trying my best to stay there, but old Dave's got some pace. He even had pace there tonight a couple of times. I thought he's going to get me here, but yeah, look, let's just see what next week brings on. Let's just hope stay out of trouble, keep the car straight, hopefully have some reasonable pace, and we'll see how it all shakes out.
And interesting what you're saying there as well, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I used that phrase earlier, mate. That has been your game plan all along. The game plan you're going in with next week has been your game plan all along. So hopefully that will continue to serve you well. But 90 minutes is a long way around there. We know that D. Oliver doesn't mind a cheeky fuel save either. And I guess you can't help you know, and I say this, I say this with, you know, a fair degree of sarcasm and also love and affection at the same time. You can't help the idiots around you either. You don't know what's going to come your way. You're not in control of anybody's steering wheel except your own. And we know that 90 minutes around Road America is a long way, firstly. And secondly, we're no stranger to incidents there either. We've seen some big ones in the past, and unfortunately it's taken innocent bystanders each and every time we go there.
Yeah, pretty much. It's one of those tracks as well that it's a fairly, appears to be a straightforward track, but there's some technical spots that can really catch you out quite easy. So it's being on top of that. 90 minutes as well. You've got to keep the concentration, especially through the kink. One little mistake there, and pretty much your car's written off because you're going that fast and you're into a wall. But yeah, you're right. It's just you've got to be careful. Try and keep your eyes on the swivel to see what's going on around you, and just hope that you can stay out of trouble. I said I just try to keep out of trouble as best I can and keep the car there. I'm hoping I can get some pace out of this car. So next week, the Porsches I think will be back at strength because it's a lot more straights down there. So yeah, it's I'm extracting a little bit of speed out of the Merc. Is it enough to go up against the Porsches in a straight line? I don't think so. So it's going to be a real interesting one. Yeah, it'll be a good battle between Dave and I, depending on how we go. So, yeah, let's just see how qualifying goes. We'll go from there. And, yeah, like I said, I'm not normally the fastest on track. That's why I'm highly surprised I got pole. But, yeah, like I said, consistency is what I aim for. Just try and repeat the same lap time inside out. So that's, what you see is what you get, basically. So that's my goal. That's what I try to do. Anything else that comes along above that is a bonus.
Maybe that's why. Maybe it's the pole position that threw Heaney off. Maybe that's why he thought that you'd hired a Stig or another member of the Merck's graded RA to just getting the confirmation there from Wolfbane. So you might not be up the river just yet, Paul. If Wolfbane 91 is right, the Mercs are good at RA. But yeah, Heaney thought you might have recruited one of the Aussie racer troops in there. I don't know who exactly he was hinting at, but he was thinking that it wasn't you in the car with the qualifying result that you netted tonight. But it's well-deserved, mate, and it's reward for patience, perseverance, and persistence. So well done on that. See you Thursday night?
Yes, yeah, this stage I'll be around. It's going to be real interesting, the wet race at the ring. So I'm not the best in the Porsche the best of time. So if I can finish the race, I'll be happy. But yeah, GT4s as well is going to be interesting. It's a hard fight there. I think I've still got a potential for a podium there. So let's just see what happens. It's too much stress for me at the moment. So I'm going to lose what little hair I have left.
And it's a sprint round at Alton Park as well, which we know can throw up some fireworks. Yeah, absolutely. It can throw up, all sorts of variables. So we're looking forward to that. I wouldn't be surprised. I can't see it on the radar, but I wouldn't be surprised because it is Great Britain if it's absolutely tipping down cats and dogs as well. Go well, mate. Anyone you want to thank?
Just thanks to Bailey Ladders for giving us all the support they have over the years and for sticking with us. So yeah, they're a good sponsor, and hopefully we can keep getting some more results for them and bring it home at the end of the season.
All right, very nicely done. Good to catch up with you, mate. Appreciate that. Go and enjoy what's left of the night, and we'll catch up with you on Thursday.
No worries, thanks, guys.
Crazy John Racing, good luck next week, Woody and Dave. I'm not around for Road America on a golf trip, which is why we get a chance to have a chat to him now. So that's your YouTube handle, John Wright, I take it, from the words in my ears from Adam Lavis. And if that's the case, what a way to spend the weekend off with the championship already wrapped up, based on all the numbers that Adam Lavis has crunched there for us. You are the champion-elect, and you're letting the fate of what might unfold next week be at the hands of the powers that be and destiny and all those other things. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out. Seems impossible to see you losing the title, considering that you're not going to be on the grid, you're going to be away on a golf trip. Tell us about the golf trip in a moment, but firstly, well done on the season you put together so far.
Yeah, excellent, thank you. It's been just consistency this year for me. I haven't been the quickest everywhere. Some tracks it's good, and then I don't know. This track, it was horrible. I bought it last week. I jumped, into the car, and then it was like the Porsche was horrible around here. So it was just about being consistent tonight. That's what I thought I should do.
Well, you mentioned consistency, right? Fourth, fifth, fourth in the first four races, 3 rounds of the campaign. Your worst result, 17th. That was in round 4 at Monza Combined. 8th, 4th on the Adelaide Street Circuit, the Parklands there in South Australia. 2nd at Bathurst. We called that race, of course, won by Dave Oliver. The double win at the Nürburgring in the rain. third at Mazzano, fourth and second at the Sachsenring. So, I mean, not too bad, and you still got the round win tonight as well on countback points, mate. So really, as you say, consistency. But we say it all the time, and you are evidence of that. Consistency wins championships. And as luck would have it, you've got an okay drop round of 44 up your sleeve there to pocket next week. So that'll boost your points up to, maths isn't the strong point. Sorry? Yeah, it's 105 the margin that he gets, but it'll put him up to 437 points total. And that should give you the breathing space required to see off the threat of, well, only Paul would, because D. Oliver would be too far back. 111 back is too far back. So it must be nice to have been able to do what was required to get the job done, knowing you wouldn't be here next week.
Yeah, well, tonight I jumped on at about 7:45, and I had 15 minutes of practice to learn the track and get around it. So it was just all about consistency tonight, and because I could have not done tonight, and hopefully that would have completely changed. It would have given the boys an opportunity. I thought, why not, have a go tonight, see what I can do. And again, not overly the quickest. I think the rear engine car there was horrible to drive, and I think that's why the other boys were a lot quicker than I was. But as I said, consistency's been my key all year, and just getting my setups, just having them all done, like for a sprint setup with the right fuel, and the same with qualifying, because each week is always slightly different. So having that already done really does help the preparation for the race. You don't have to worry about that stuff. And of course, the Porsche is very good on fuel saving. So those tracks where it works, it's pretty good when you can fuel save that. That's why I run the Nürburgring, the circuit there, the Grand Prix circuit, because I can save a lot of fuel. So
where are we playing golf next week, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in Adelaide. I have no idea. I'm not a golfer. I just do one trip every year. And we are going to, here we go, the North Adelaide Golf Club, the Tea Tree Gully Golf Club, and Mount Osmond Golf Club. So never heard them before, but it's an annual trip, and it just happened to be this year on a Monday, which has never been before.
So it's a day off work. It's a copious amount of grog at the 19th and all the great other little bits and pieces that go with the golf trip. We look forward to checking in with you in a couple of weeks' time and seeing how the golf trip went. Knowing that this is the end of the road, mate, congratulations on the title. It'll be interesting to see if you get a chance to defend it in Pro-Am, or whether Adam Lavis is feeling nasty and wants to promote you up into Pro. But more importantly, when does the prep start for Term 2? Do you go around again in the Porsche, or do you look to go and have a play in something else?
That decision will be probably made maybe a couple hours before the first race. I really haven't thought about a car change. The Porsche's been really good. I do like driving the Porsche, but I might go to the Ford if it can get back to where it was. That would be nice. But I don't really prepare any cars before it. I think the next thing I'm preparing for is a Sebring 12 hour in a couple of weeks, so I'll focus on that. But other than that, I'll pick a car a week or so out. And if I go back up to Pro, and it just means I need to, like this season, dedicate a little bit more time to get some pace, because I've got, I think, very good average speed. I just don't have that, really quick laps to get me right up there in qualifying in Pro, that is. But consistency is going to be my key if I go up.
We'll find all those details out between now and April 13 as well. April 13 is when racing gets back underway on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. So you joke that you've got a couple of hours there to make your decision on the day, but surely some time in the schedule over the 2-week break that we've got coming up to just explore the options?
I'll be honest.
No?
No. No, look, I can only do Monday nights and the odd endurance race. I am pretty limited by work, so I do struggle to put a lot of time in the sim. I don't do anything else on the GSRC. It's just the GT3, so I do struggle. So I do like to keep the same car, because I've obviously had a lot of time in the seat. So yeah, I would say not much prep. It'll probably just be the Porsche, unless something else is OP.
Just answered my next 2 questions, so we can speed this up and get you on out of here, mate. hit list. I always ask the drivers this in week 10, right? What do you want to see on the calendar? What don't you want to see on the calendar when we get to term 2? What are some of your favourite circuits?
I don't mind most circuits. I just like circuits where you can overtake a bit more. I think this one, Sasha, you couldn't overtake much here. Last week was a bit harder as well. I just think where there's a little bit more room to overtake will make better racing, especially in the sprint races, because once you get behind someone here, unless they made a mistake, you're stuck behind. So I always like the big name tracks, the Sebrings, the Bathursts, and all that stuff. But as long as there's a little bit more room to overtake and a bit more strategy involved, other than that's really you can just block that track and keep your position. It's pretty, do a big mistake to lose it. So I just prefer, just as long as we can get overtaking done, I think that's what we enjoy more.
A 4th and a 2nd for you tonight, a 2nd and a 4th for Dave Oliver, and yet somehow you've pipped him by 6 points. So that's a very, 0x was it, Adam? 0 incidents in both races? Yeah, it was. Yeah, so clean races have been. We talk all the time, don't we, about the bonuses being so vitally important in the big picture at the end of the championship. Even though not necessarily a circuit we want to see on a regular basis here on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club, one you're able to learn and keep a clean set of heels on. And given some of the garbage that was unfolding in that first lap, you've done what a lot of other drivers weren't able to do tonight, mate.
Yeah, that was probably one of my biggest goals, was to do that, to make sure tonight I didn't get off tracks, and that's a hard track not to get off tracks, but because I knew I needed as much points in the bank and I need to get that gap over 90s for when I'm away. So, I think a lot of the tracks this year, if you load those bonus points and just, don't push too hard and get 1 or 2 off tracks, it really does help at the end of the season.
Well done, mate. Terrific performance. Obviously, we don't get a chance to chat to you next week because we're on the golf course. Who do you want to thank before we let you go as the champion-elect in GT3 Pro-Am in Turn 1 of 26?
Look, obviously the club itself, I'm part of one of the sponsors here, and I think it's just so good for a lot of people to be able to, a lot of guys to be able to get on any day of the week really and have a drive. So definitely the committee and all the work they put in behind the scenes. Definitely yourself. I always love listening to the replays on a Monday night when I go back to bed. But no, I think the whole club's, it's just great for boys to get together and have some fun and not take ourselves too seriously, but also make sure it's competitive. So yeah, big thanks to everyone that's involved in it, because I want to race. It's some people have to race and help look after behind the scenes, and that's a big job. So I do appreciate all those guys that do that.
All right, mate, very nicely done. Great to catch up with you. Thanks for hanging around to have a chat with us, and well done again on championship supremacy this term, and we look forward to seeing you, well, I was going to say in 3 weeks' time, but no, 4 weeks' time on April 13 when the new term gets underway. Go well.
Excellent. Thanks, guys.
Well done to John Wright. Send it next week on the golf course too, John. Go well. Dave Oliver. I knew you wouldn't mind sticking around to have a chat with me last cab off the ranks. Certainly not least, though, because there's a lot to pick apart here. But before we go on, can I just say, there are a couple of people apparently having a little bit of a moan and groan because we spoke to Jonesy for 20 minutes last Monday night. We haven't had a chance to talk to the bastard for 9 weeks because he's been doing some great things on Thursday night and we've been in replay mode. So we had a few boxes to tick and a little bit of catching up with Jonesy to do. So apologies if that took a little bit long in the eyes of some people, but it was nice to actually catch up with one of the guys that's been one of the real form improvers across various series this year on the platforms of the GSRC. And good to see you flying the flag for BMW as well, again, D. Oliver. Blinder of a start for you on Woodsy and Heat 2. I'll come back and cover that off in a moment, but that wasn't one of the highlights necessarily. Kicking up some stones there made you vulnerable to Woodsy there for a moment, but at least it wasn't detrimental. You didn't end up in the Armco or the concrete. But talk to me about the challenges of the Sachsenring, and noting that Paul Rogers said that he felt as though this was one of the circuits that actually lent itself better towards favouring the BMWs than some of the other tracks we've visited this campaign.
Yeah, hey guys. Yeah, the one night I actually wanted dinner early, Zach, let me last. But anyway, yeah, it was yeah, it was, I don't know, it felt like it was a decent track. I got a little bit of practice about half an hour before the server went, because yeah, I haven't actually properly driven this track before. I think, if I remember correctly, I might have loaded up a rallycross car and just did skids when it first came out. That's how I kind of learned some of these silly MotoGP crappy tracks.
Right.
Yeah, just do some skids.
Not a fan of MotoGP circuits, Dave?
Like this is like it's a good track. Like obviously it's a modern track and stuff, or modernish. I'm not, but yeah, you know what I mean. But it's just yeah, it's one of those weird ones where it's just like the first part of the track. It's just you just got to tippy toe around, and then the rest of the track, it's just commit. It's just like one of those super committed tracks. It's kind of like a mix between like Brands and Laguna, and some, and one of the other tracks I can't remember. But yeah, it's just one of those like weird tracks where it's just like half the track's mechanical grip, and then you really got to rely on the aero grip.
And by the way, you know how this rodeo rocks and rolls. I would have thought you'd be able to go and make your dinner and come back and eat it while you talk to us, but that's another story. Hey, at least you're a good sport about it. Hey, let's talk about a couple of other things here, mate, because obviously you and Woodsy, that scrap for second in the championship, that's going to go right down to next week, right down to the wire, no doubt. We look forward to checking the result sheet next Monday night, so seeing who prevails there, knowing that, of course, John Wright's not on the grid. That potentially opens the door for you guys to go and duke it out for an outright win, and we know there's more weight on points distribution on enduro rounds, with 90 up for grabs for the win, so 9-point difference first to second. Given that it's only 6 between you two at the moment, that can make all the difference in the world, right? So let's pick that apart in a moment. But it was great to see you guys race so closely with one another tonight. He got the job done, obviously, in qualifying, and then we look at the results for race one. He goes and gets the job done. You finish second, but the charge back through the field, you two made a hell of a start in race two, and you had to, because this is not one of the easiest circuits to overtake on. Blinder a start from the pair of you, making the best of a bad situation when you're hurled back into the fold, thrown into the invert situation like that. You had to get on with it. You had to be aggressive. You had to be forceful. Sure, there were a couple of incidents that, the seas parted for you, but still, solid opening lap, solid platform to launch the rest of the night on.
Yeah, it was definitely a difficult one to overtake and stuff. Woodsy only just pipped me for quali. I was like 0.02, so well done for him there. I thought I might have had it there for a second. Surprisingly, we're super clean race in the first one, but yeah, the second race it was just a case of I think my line just got a really good jump. I think we all kind of we're all kind of watching the leader as he took off, so we kind of got a few spots there, and then it was a case of a few guys. I think there was probably at least 3 people over the first 2 laps that had whoopses on the cold tyres, and it was just a case of all of a sudden I'm up to, I think it was 4th or 5th, but unfortunately I made a bit of a boo-boo and jumped in with still the sprint fuel in the car, and I only joined back on maybe 8 seconds before it went to race, so I couldn't change it, unfortunately, so I was about 10 litres short. So it was a case of when we're kind of battling John and Jason there, it was a case of try and save as do a little bit of saving, but here when you're only using 2 litres, 2.1 litres a lap, when you're flat out, like 0.1, 0.2 wasn't really going to make a difference when I really needed, when I really shouldn't have had the when I should have had an extra 10 litres in. So it would have been alright if I only had to put fill up with 7 litres or something like that, but it was just a case of obviously just be as clean as I can and then just try and pop into pop into a gap, you know, to go from there. And then, because I obviously, you know, with this being such a committed track, I actually ended up I had time to do a front right tyre, which kind of helped towards the end of the race. It, you know, once obviously it took a couple laps to come up, and you know, one little whoops there, and then that brought Woodsy into the fold, and then after that it was just, you know, battle royale for the front engine rear wheel drive cars. So, but yeah, it'll be an interesting one next week.
Yes.
I'm not sure how exactly. Oh yeah, there's my little bobble there.
There it is.
It was just one of the ones where it's, yeah, kind of must have teared up and spooled up. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, obviously Road America is good. It's been a staple. I'm not exactly a super fan of it, but yeah, it'll be an interesting to see how it goes, especially in the enduro format.
And 90 minutes around Road America, a long, tough slog. Also, you know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. A couple of different little factors there. But those Porsches still find a way to reign supreme, mate. Just Sean Benici saying, I took rights, was good at the end, but too slow to get up to temperature. Unfortunately for Sean Benici, but he's talking about the tyres, of course. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? The more things change, the more they stay the same. Even though you and Woodsy threw everything at it in race 1, those Porsches still find a way in race 2, despite maybe not necessarily being the best car to have tonight, based on some of the comments we've heard. They still find a way to prove that they have been the dominant force in GT3 racing this season.
Yeah, it was always a bit of a weird one. Yeah, coming into this season and seeing it, you know, such a Porsche fest. But I think that's also, you know, potentially down to, obviously, you know, it's a strong car, but also with Daytona being first round, a lot of people, you know, had done a lot of running. I'm pretty sure in the 24 hours leading up to this season. So I think, yeah, a lot of people kind of went with that. And yeah, you know, I kind of had done a couple seasons in the Mustang and decided to give the Old Faithful Beamer, which had the the Evo update, a run. So, you know, it wasn't obviously, you know, I wasn't that great at the start of the season, but you know, I did my usual snowball of better and better runs and results. And you know, again, it's I think for the 4th season in a row, it's you know, but there's a potential there for a podium in the championship. So, you know, which unfortunately that first has always eluded me in GT3,
Yes.
which, you know, is annoying, but you know, it's you know, good to see John pretty much take the win with, you know, 9 fingers on the trophy there. So
yeah, that's
you know,
that's good enough. I mean, he'd
he's done
prefer
well.
to have the full 10, wouldn't he? But 9 will do in this instance.
Yeah, until quali's done, it's next week he'll be like, okay, yeah, I've got it. So
yeah, exactly. Hey, what does the rest of your week look like, please? When will we see you popping into these platforms again?
not too sure for the rest of this week. Most likely just yeah, get ready for next week. Not sure how much running I'll get, but you know, might have to do a little bit of a few laps just to kind of get the eye in, but yeah, and see if there is actually a strategy there. Like Road America's always a bit of a weird one for strats, because it's you know, such a lot of 100% throttles, so it's kind of like you can save a little bit here and there, but it's just a matter of you know, trying to look after tyres and stuff. Because I did another race, a 90-minute race, I think it was an hour and 90-minute race there a while back, and I ended up doing tyres halfway through, and then because your brain's still tricked into a gripped up car, you just end up making really silly mistakes and end up spinning on the cold. So it's just going to be a case of, yeah, trying to suss out what's actually the better way of doing it. You know, is it, you know, just sides or 4 or a front? But you know, with with it, usually having a full stop, and then 20-30 litres or whatever it is. It's just a case of you can do an all 4 tyres. You're just going to have to make sure that you switch your brain back to dawdling around a little bit for the first couple laps.
Indeed. Looking forward to seeing how it all plays out as this week unfolds. A very busy week in the sim racing world. Were you behind the lens at all over the course of the weekend out there in Western Sydney?
No, I was not.
All right. Well, that takes care of that. I don't know if I've got any further questions. Term 2's coming up, mate. It'll be interesting to see what that brings with it. I'm interested as anybody else would be in what the calendar is going to look like, but by the sounds of it, you'd be happy to see no Sachsenring on that schedule.
Yeah, nah. If that can not ever turn up for GT3, that'd be great. Maybe unless it was a fun race in rallycross cars or something where you just skid.
Well, maybe so. Maybe so. We were having that discussion earlier. Adam Lavis and I are big advocates for the Brno circuit in the Czech Republic joining the fold. That's a great MotoGP circuit. And it's wide, it's long, it's open, it's flowing. But I don't know how iRacing would go with their first venture into Czechoslovakia. Sorry, the Czech Republic, I should say. Dave, thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Who would you like to thank before I let you go?
Oh, yeah, thank the Synergy boys, and I've got a few mates that watch the broadcast and stuff whenever it's the pro-am's on. So thanks to them for watching, and I'll go have a chat with them now. So once I get some dinner ready. So but after that, thanks again, and chat to you hopefully next week. Well,
sorry to get in the way of your dinner preparation, Gordon Ramsay. But I will.
Jamie Oliver.
yeah, the namesake, the uncle. On a more serious note, I will ask you, how much of a sigh of relief were you breathing when Paul Wood exited stage right there on the final lap, please?
I figured I should be okay, but you just never know, especially in that fast section. But it's obviously disappointing that we couldn't, finish right to the end there. But yeah, it was I just kind of, hopefully he didn't lose too many spots. I think he lost one, so he was very close there with Sharpie. But points wise, if Sharpie had have pipped him at the end there, selfishly it would have been nice. But it's good that he didn't lose too many spots.
Promises to be an absolutely fascinating final round in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, mate. Thank you for that. Appreciate your time tonight, and really appreciate you hanging around right to the very end. We thought we'd save the best until last. Go well on the back of that. We'll see you later in the week.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Wes.
And he was third for the round tonight as well. Top 3 in the championship, actually. First, second and third in that order on round points. John Wright reminding you, 393 plays Paul Wood 332 and Dave Oliver 326. But we know that Wright's not on the grid next week. We know he gets 44 points back. That takes him to 437, and that gives him the buffer he requires to wrap up the title, or so we believe. Pro split for you. There it is now on your screen. 4 different manufacturers in the top 10. Again, Porsche heavy, Porsche dominated. 7 of those with the Aston, the Ford and the BMW making their presence known. Again, have a look at that, Adam Lavis. It's beyond any possible, reasonable doubt now, because even if Eli Donaldson has a 0 next week, he gets 27 back, he goes to 461, that's 128. He's champion-elect as well.
Yeah, Eli's more likely. He's got a 20-25 point buffer, so that would involve him getting multiple points penalties, which is even extremely unlikely. So he's probably 99.9% of the way there. And I think the fact that Johnny Wright's going on a golf trip, he's basically there unless there's something in the steward's room. He's pretty much done. He's obviously not going to get a point for any penalties next week. It's only if there's any hanging penalties that might affect the race thing, and even then, still need Woods to have a perfect night. So they are all but champions for this season, and I think we do have a very close call for the M split though.
Absolutely, we'll get to that in a moment. 3 in the top 10 didn't even turn up on the grid tonight. That's unfortunate, but yeah, 101 4 points Jones to Barrelon. Barrelon coming home with a wet sail. Jonesy got no drop rounds to fall back on. Needs to be on the grid next week. Hope that he is. Nick Wood stays in contention in that battle for fourth, but Luke Page charging home with a wet sail and won around on points tonight ahead of Donaldson and Rogers. The difference there, only one between those two. But 109 covers the top 7 and then 254. Jesus. Covers the top 10. How about that? The Pro-Am split, just to recap that for the benefit of those of you that are just tuning in. Top 10 again, 198 points between first and 10th in that. The battle to watch will be Wood versus Oliver for second. Jason Wilkinson looks to have one hand on fourth now, but wouldn't say no to third should either Wood or Oliver slip up next week and he bank a solid result. He needs to bank a solid result. He hasn't got enough in the drop round kitty to fall back on. Neil, Camo, Fitzgerald, Benici, Akers, Fitzgerald. That battle for seventh, and even Eduardo Zamora you can throw into that. Only 13 points covering those four to round out the battle for the minor placements inside the top 10. And even Bryden Friend and Jordan Dakin are just outside, despite Cooper Bryden Friend not jumping into the server for race 2 or race 1 for that matter tonight. He was in the server, but he obviously exited early. Am split, have a look at how tight this is, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Nelly Oski. Woohoo. 16 points covers the top 3. Have a look at that. Harvey in the best position as far as drop rounds are concerned. Should anything go pear-shaped next week, but nothing that he can rest on his laurels with. 45 when there's 90 on the line for the win. 38 for Martin Davis should anything go pear-shaped next week. McMenamin in the box seat, but needs to tick the box and hold those two at bay next week in order to ensure that he prevails as the champion for Frog Leap Juice Racing and Mercedes in Term 1 of 2026 in Waste Options GT3 AM. 358 plays 351, 342. Tristan Koch retains fourth. Braden O'Loughlin 282. Pedersen up 1 to 259, so it's getting harder for him to try and salvage a top 5 spot in all of that. O'Loughlin's his best hope at this point, you would think. But who knows, the Mustang might come good at Road America, and Tristan Koch, if he has another shocker, or Braden if he has another shocker, I mean, they're both outside the top 5 in both races tonight, then and Pedersen was inside the top 5, who knows? He might just be able to overturn that and walk away with position number 6. The other two have drop rounds to fall back on. Pedersen does not, and a tie for both 7th and 9th at the moment. That'll get sorted out next week. 143 points covers the top 10 at this point in time. And unlike the other two splits where there's bugger all apart from a Porsche in the top 10, if we have a look at Pro-Am, there's Porsche and there's 4 other manufacturers, 6 Porsches, a Merc, a BMW, a McLaren and a Ferrari. And in that Am split, you've got Merc on top. So it's the only split being led by something other than a Porsche. You've also got, have a look at the manufacturer diversity there. 4 Porsches and 6 single entries for Chevrolet, for all McLaren, Ford, Lambo, Audi and Mercedes at the moment. Very good to see. Still German manufacturing, German engineering dominating at the top of the GT3 AM leaderboard though. There you have it. We hope you enjoyed that tonight as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Another long broadcast for us, nearly 4 hours later. At Frog Leap Juice Racing, Jesse McMenamin and Braden O'Loughlin hold sway at the moment from the 555 Sim Sport entry. That's appropriate considering how they were duking it out tonight. Nathan Harvey, Luke Wegener, it's a 108, so it's hard to see them losing the team bragging rights as well. Best of the Pro-Am split teams, I should say, is John Wright and Sam Woodhouse. Best of the Pro teams, Eli Donaldson and Richard Mitchum. Bugger all again turning up for GT3 Pro tonight. That was disappointing to see. Hopefully the return to Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin will change that next week. Hope you enjoyed all of that. We do it with thanks to Disruptive Labs, Waste Options, Trophy AI, merch.tgsrc.com and Flash Graphics. The late bit of breaking news for you, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow afternoon, around 5 o'clock, ARN are going to make their announcement regarding Kyle and Jackie O, and it's been reported tonight that Kyle's going to come out swinging with his own press release at the same time. Rumours circulating that he might try and buy, get a payout, get his contract paid out the remaining $88 million of that. Good luck. send the radio station broke, or either that or he's just going to buy the radio station. Because remember, if they pay out his contract, there's probably a non-complete clause in there, and it'll put him off air for the rest of the decade for the extent of that contract. So it could be a huge story that continues to develop and unfold in the Australian media landscape, that one. Speaking of the media landscape, a little bit of a change for us as well. We did put it up on socials before it was too quick to get it removed, because by the time I got back to the Discord thread and realised, hang on, no, Adam Lavis isn't going to be here on Wednesday night, everything had changed. So Dan Yeaman's out on Wednesday night. Adam Lavis is out on Wednesday night. At the moment, Wednesday night isn't a live broadcast. If that changes, we'll be with you from 7:40 Eastern Daylight Time for the Oz Legends Cup from the Hungaroring and also the Supercars. If we're not, we'll be bringing you an Oz Live replay of those at a later point in time, either Thursday or Friday afternoon. What we want to advise is that if we're not here, make sure you go over and watch our GSRC boys tear it to shreds in round one of the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series, which Scott Rankin and Stephen Clark are bringing you, with Jay Kennedy producing the broadcast for the SimSpeed Esports Network for the Australian Sim Racing Group from Sebring in Florida from 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. And if we're both on Wednesday night by some small virtue of a friggin' miracle, then make sure that you have your sports bar set up, us on one screen, them on the other. Everybody wins, because Sebring's always a must-watch when the supercars go there, particularly in the Pro Series. So we wish the boys and all of our GSRC members taking part in that championship the very best of luck. Thursday night, we are back live. Not for the GT4, but instead for the Porsches. The Porsches are live from the Nürburgring in Germany. The Elite Split is our focus, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the Nordschleife, 9 p.m. and a 60-minute journey there. There will be a bit of overtime attached to that, quick post-race show to follow it, and then straight back into the earlier in the evening proceedings, a replay, a tight turnaround, but a nice little juicy late-night Thursday night offering and viewing for you. Replay of Disruptive Labs GT4 from Alton Park. The commentary again as live, the broadcast on a slight delay, about 3 hours from 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time is when the race gets underway. We'll bring it to you from about 10:45 Eastern and take you through to midnight. Looking forward to that immensely. So join us from 5 to 9 on Thursday night. Hope you're looking forward to the return of live Thursday night motorsport and live Porsche Cup competition, and hopefully more than 7 in the Elite Split after the pathetic turnout for Miami last week. Friday night, Liam Banks, Joe Baldwin here. Banksy for the second last time for the moment, because he's got bigger fish to fry in the real world, and he won't be with us for term 2. We're working on alternatives to that. Phillip Island, 60 minutes the journey, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That'll be a cracking round of the GTE Championship, and the boys will be with you from 8:25. They'll spin the wheel Friday night to determine the car of choice for Mountain Men on a Saturday night from Mount Panorama Barvis for 32 laps, 200 kilometres from 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And then we're back with you on Monday night. Make note of this, earlier start time, 7:30 Eastern, which means we're on air just after 7:25. Sebring the venue, Super Formula Light Grand Finale. Dan Yeaman, Ryan Jones, Sam Chapman, everybody vying for the title, but it's already one hand on it for Dan Yeaman. 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time, 45 minutes of journey, 2 compulsory pit stops. I hope you can join the boys for that. And by which I mean me and Adam Lavis. Sorry, I'm losing track of who's on what nights at the moment. There's been that much bloody change this season. We'll be here. It's the 15th and final race of the Super Formula Light campaign, and it should be an absolute beauty. Longest race of the campaign, which is why we've got the earliest start time, and then we move straight into waste options. GT3 Pro, back to the Pro Split for the grand finale from Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. As we've already detailed, Eli Donaldson is champion-elect there. A lot would have to go wrong for him to lose the title. In fact, it doesn't look like he can, based on the numbers that we've already crunched. He would have to have an absolute shocker and get penalties galore, safety license point penalties, championship point penalties, a club ban, you name it. He would have to get he would have to have the worst potential possible night in GSRC history to lose the championship next week. But Road America is always a favourite, even for a dead rubber. We're looking forward to 90 minutes of GT3 Pro next Monday night, 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. But make note, 15 minutes earlier on air for that longer Super Formula Light hit out from one of our favourites, unless you're Nick Fodiatis, Sebring in Florida. That's it from us. We're done. Hope you enjoyed it. The platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook and YouTube. On behalf of Adam Lavis and all the crew here, felt a little bit weird. We didn't have any live sport to go and have a look at tonight during the broadcast. That'll be a little bit different later in the week, particularly Thursday night with the footy back in full swing. But plenty of great entertainment and plenty of great sport on the way. Of course, we had the Oscars this morning. We had IndyCar, we had NASCAR, we've had, of course, Formula One as well. Been a big weekend of motorsport. The boys earlier mentioned Sebring, the 12 hours for the iRacing World coming up a little bit later on this month, but this weekend, a real world equivalent, round 2 of the United Sports Car Championship, the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, from 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and a green flag from 1:15. So that is it from us. Hope you enjoyed that. Well done to all our winners tonight. Daniel Cheney getting his first GT3 win. Jason Wilkinson getting a podium. John Wright wrapping up the Pro-Am Championship. Eli Donaldson's done the same in GT3 Pro. The AM split still firmly on the line. However, we look forward to your company for grand final week when it gets underway. But before that, the rest of the penultimate week of the opening term of the 2026 season. From all the broadcast commentary and production team here, go out and enjoy the remaining half hour of your Monday night, everybody. I'm Zach Caban. Bye for now.